Okay, everybody, if I could try to bring this meeting to order, it is 6:39, and I would like to call this meeting to order. Please, we have Assembly Member Grace Lee in the room who is under a time constraint, as we all are, and I would like to allow her to come up and speak. So, Susan, Shirley, please. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, we're gonna call the roll. Chris,
No, let Assembly Member Grace Lee go
Okay.
first, and then we'll do roll call.
Is this working? Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Assemblymember Grace Lee. The election is over, yay. But still working very hard in the community for all of you. Of course, session is also over, but now that we have bills that have been passed through the legislature, we are fighting very hard to get them passed into law and implemented. Two of those bills are ones that I worked very closely on. The first is a bill to limit PFAS contamination in New York's drinking water. So Senator Kavanaugh and I successfully passed that bill to set strict science-based limits on PFAS in New York's drinking water in response to Trump's rollbacks. The EPA just rolled back the limits for PFAS contamination in drinking water a few months ago. So this would reset the limits for New York and protect drinking water for over 1 million New Yorkers who are facing large PFAS contamination in their drinking water. That we are working very hard to get that signed into law. Would love to see that done before the end of the year. In addition, we, along with the advocacy of many in this room, hi, Katie, we did have, we increased the eligibility, income eligibility for SCREE and DREE. So yes, we should clap for that one. It was a huge success. The income eligibility has gone now from $50,000 to $75,000 for seniors and New Yorkers with disabilities to be eligible for rent freeze. This was an authorization for the city to be allowed to do this, to implement these eligibilities, these new eligibility limits. So now it goes to the city council to pass into law. Wanted to give you an update that council member Farah Lewis is a sponsor of that bill. We have been also speaking to the speaker's office, City Council Speaker Julie Menon's office, and talking about how important this is to our community. So we are hoping to see this passed into law by the City Council in the next couple of months. And we are speaking, actively in conversation with the City Council on ways that we can support this, and would love to engage all of you if there's a hearing in support of this bill. Another thing that happened very recently, the governor signed a first in the nation moratorium on data centers for 1 year. This is a real win for New York. This will give time to create a real regulatory framework for how data centers can be constructed in and across New York State. And make sure that there are real environmental protections put in place if these data centers are built, and also an analysis of the energy usage and things like that that will impact all of New York when these data centers are built. We passed a law this past session that had a stricter environmental framework for protections for New Yorkers against data centers, and also created more strict standards around energy usage of data centers. So we are still pushing to get that legislation passed. The governor said that her executive order does not mean that she won't sign our legislation as well, but we are working to get that done to strengthen protections for New Yorkers against the data centers. And that is it. I know we are under time constraints. Want to wish everyone a great summer. I know this is our last general board meeting for the summer, but have a great August and we'll see you in September. Great. Oh, do I need to take questions?
Yeah, I was going to say,
Okay.
do any board members have any questions? Will?
So yeah, thank you so much for the work you're doing on PFAS. I was just curious. I mean, I understand there's a lot various sources of drinking water, whether it's groundwater or whatnot, have been historically contaminated. Are there funding sources in place for remediation and cleanup of some of these water sites?
Yeah, so this year in the state budget, we put $1 billion into the budget for various environmental initiatives, and one of them is to help upgrade water treatment facilities. So we are hoping that once we are able to pass this into law, that we can also use some of the money from the budget to do that.
Okay, great. No, it's good to hear. I understand that technology is kind of continuing to evolve and has come a long way on that with PFAS cleanup. So
Yes, and no, it's a great concern, and obviously, if we don't have the money to do it, it makes it very hard for the treatment centers to be able to do what they need to do.
Okay, thank you.
Great,
Have a good summer.
thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to DJ to take attendance.
Chris Arroyo, Will Benish, Keen Berger, Carter Booth, Katie Bordenaro, Kate Bostock, Anita Brandt, Amy Brenna, Rich Cacapolo, Nina Chen, Valerie Del Rosa, Manaswini Dixit, Arturo Fernandez, Mara Fitzgerald, Stella Fitzgerald, Cormac Flynn, Eileen Gribben, David Gruber, Jill Honeycomb, DJ Jane, that's me, Susan Kent, Ryder Kessler, Janine Kiley, Patricia Laria, Janet Lith, Alec Prznicki, Donna Raftery, Lois Rakoff, Sean Ryan, David Sandman, Rochio Sands, Shirley Secunda, Eddie Siegel, Federico Siegel, Dr. Shirley Smith. Yeah, she's here. Chenault Spence, Susan Wittenberg, Anthony Wong, Eugene Yu.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Should we read off the names of the people that were absent with notice so we have it?
Yes, absent with notification is Susanna Aaron, Rohit Balani, Chris Stignes, Susan Gammy, Benjamin Listman, Edma, Paul McDade, Erica Olson, Bo Riccobono, Sean Sweeney, and Emma Smith.
Okay. So let's see. So now we will go to the public session, and in the room, I have Luke Camery. Is there Luke Camery to speak? Yeah, come on up to the microphone and you have 2 minutes to speak.
Sorry, I was caught off guard at how fast that was. Hi, I'm Luke. I live in the community. I commute across Grand Street every day, sometimes by bike, sometimes by foot. I live between Hester and Grand, and so I cross Canal constantly. I'm really excited about all of the changes to Canal. My only comment is I wish they went further east because, as we all know, most of the accidents on Canal Street are further east, so I'm pretty disappointed that the current proposal doesn't include any of those highly dangerous areas, including around the bridge entrance. And then on the Grand Street issue, I think the bidirectional bike lane is great. I think we saw this work really well on Lafayette. There have been no problems so far, despite all of the reactions to it. So I think we should just get this project done and going as soon as possible. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? I don't have anybody else signed up in the room. Is there anybody else in the room that is here to speak? Come on up, state your name, and you have 2 minutes. When you're done, if you could fill out a speaker card, that would be helpful.
Hello, my name is Frank. I'm actually a bar owner on Carmine Street called Nightingale, Par Avion Group in your packet. I'm here to make an appeal to the larger community board for an approval of some of the applications I have submitted in. I was heard at CB2 SLA2 committee 2-3 weeks ago, and their recommendation to you includes a lot of statements that I feel are misleading and are unfair. I'm going to start with stated community and neighborhood opposition towards my bar. That is completely a myth. We have 111 signatures from neighbors living on our street who absolutely love our bar, who have signed in favor of us. The so-called opposition is 2 neighbors, one of whom has been against us since 1 year prior to us even opening up. Then there is an allegation that we have no venue address on our petition signature form. That is also untrue. The first form, which is in the packet, has a handwritten signature. All the other forms have printed signatures with the hours, with all the details. Then there is a question of soundproofing. We have done not 1, not 2, 3 layers of soundproofing. The only wall that they keep bringing up is a separating wall between 2 buildings, and that wall is 18-inch reinforced concrete and brick wall. Nothing is getting through that. Lastly, I would like to say, as a new bar owner who has invested my life saving into this, the process itself has been pretty unfair. In the last CB2 SLA2 meeting, there were clearly board members who wanted to approve my full liquor license, but the chair enforced an all or nothing vote, combining 3 different applications that are completely separate. One is for change of hours. The other one is not even a SLA application. It's for outdoor dining, which was already heard 1 month prior. In the end, all I'm asking for this board is to allow me a fighting chance to live. Either approve some of those applications or at least abstain from
4
denying it,
seconds.
so I have a chance. Thank you.
Lois? Well, you need a microphone.
37 Carmine Street.
Please give me your address of the Nightingale.
Yeah, 37 Carmine Street.
And what are the cross streets?
It's in between Bedford and Bleecker.
Thank you.
Frederica? That's it?
Anything
Okay,
else?
thank you.
Thank you.
If you could fill out the speaker card. Oh, Dr. Smith?
Yes, ma'am.
Lois, hand it to Dr. Smith.
I'm going to turn on my camera.
One that works, that's okay. Thank you for coming. You had said that when you were, actually when you came, when you wanted to start your business, someone referred you to the chair of the Carmine Block Association.
Yes, ma'am.
And you also said that you met with that person.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you meet with that person?
Yes, Mr. David Gruber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also said that when it was time for you to actually come to the meeting before us,
Yeah.
that he did not show. Was there something that?
No, ma'am. In my opinion, Mr. Gruber has been trying to sabotage my business from day one. That's not, I never meant to say this, but it's been brought up too many times. I met with him a month prior to filing the application, and he led me down a path telling me exactly what to do with my application. And then he showed up to the meeting saying nothing in my application was according to his liking, even though I chased him for a month asking for his consent, and he avoided me, simply ghosted me. And I was blindsided at CB2 meeting, thought I was doing everything to his liking.
Thank you.
That's it. We'll go, Eugene will take, is there anybody else in the room? Yes. Again, we need speaker cards filled out, please, and start with your name. You have 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline. I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator at Hudson River Park Trust, and I'm here this evening with some programming updates for our summer events. So our Broadway by the Boardwalk series is in full swing. Every Monday night, you can catch show-stopping performances at Clinton Cove on the waterfront. It's running from now through August 10th, and we also have free music programming such as Jazz at Pier 84 if you want to hear some smooth tunes, and this is in partnership with the Jazz Foundation of America. We're keeping active on the Hudson with our ongoing weekly Healthy on the Hudson series with classes such as yoga, Pilates, and HIIT. Our Sunset Salsa series also continues to be a fan favorite over at Pier 76, and this takes place every Thursday night. We encourage dancers, beginner, advanced. Everyone is welcome at our Salsa Soiree. To learn more about our local ecology, please feel free to attend our weekly wet lab look-ins at Pier 40, and we also have an interactive discovery tank at Pier 57. It's a very special week for us because it's Crab Week. It's a celebration of biodiversity at the park, and you can expect a lot of crab-themed crabtivities. Actually, right now, as we speak, we should be rowing a cardboard crab-themed kayak over at Pier 84 for City of Water Day, so very exciting. And finally, please mark your calendars for our Blues Barbecue Festival. It's on Saturday, August 15th, and it's featuring headliner and Grammy winner Bobby Rush. If you've seen the movie Sinners, he was on the soundtrack team. And there's going to be delicious barbecue, fantastic blues music, and you definitely don't want to miss it. I've brought my summer programs, and you can also head to our website, hudsonriverpark.org/events. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Is there anybody else in the room? Okay, I'll turn it over to you, Jean Youth, first vice chair for online.
Thank you, Donna. So we'll move to public speakers that are online. We'll start with Corey Kuntz. After that will be Esther Regelson. I also have Ronnie Wolf, who has signed up, although I don't see Ronnie in the attendee list. So we'll start with those three, Corey, Esther, and then if Ronnie can join, we'll have Ronnie. And then if you have not signed up beforehand, you can use the raise hand function and we'll get to you after the signed speaker. So let's begin with Corey.
Thank you, and thank you for letting us join. Corey Coons, I'm the Senior Vice President at the Hudson Square Business Improvement District. And we are here today to give comments in support of the DOT's Canal Street redesign and implementation on the west side of Canal. We have heard from a variety of local stakeholders, including retail businesses, residents, property owners, and a diverse group of stakeholders that all feel that the DOT's improvements are critical to our neighborhood. We have heard from businesses that there's really, Canal is such a barrier of other communities and people accessing our neighborhood just because the traffic is so bad. And these improvements, including curb extensions and additional crossings, we are very supportive of. And I know there was a presentation to the executive committee last week. So we just wanted to be on the record to support the DOT improvements in our section of Canal. And hopefully they will start as soon as possible. So thank you.
All right, thank you. If there are any questions?
Wait 1 second.
Corey?
Janine has a question in the room.
Sure.
I have a question for Corey. I just wanted to confirm that the Hudson Square bid also supports adding hardened infrastructure at the northeast corner of Hudson and Canal Street where some kind of hardening because cars whip around turning right and north on Hudson, and we wouldn't want a pedestrian to get injured if the car jumps the curb.
Yes, and Janine, thank you for flagging that. We discussed it in the office this week. We had advocated in the initial DOT redesign, they were actually going to significantly reduce the curb extension on the northwest corner, which we had advocated to keep, where if you've been in that area, we have a bunch of planters and it's made the crossing much easier. And thank you for flagging. The northeast corner is the same situation, especially cars that they think they're entering the tunnel and then they turn sharply the other way. So we'd be in favor of all hardening, and if there needs to be additional greening, the bid could support that effort with additional planters.
Okay, great. Thank you. If there are no other questions, I'll move on to the next speaker. Okay, Esther Regelson.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi. My name is Esther Regelson. I live in Lower Manhattan. I've been biking in the city for 43 years, and I'm here to support the Canal Street improvements. It's critical. It's long overdue. We take our life in our hands when we're biking on Canal. In fact, I almost got hit by a car who never got the memo when he got his driver's license about right-of-way rules, right by the bridge there. So as I say, it's critical. I'm hoping that these improvements will go end to end on Canal Street because we really need it, and the sooner the better. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, next we'll have Chris Sanders, and then after Chris, Kevin O'Connor. And then we'll also add Michael Haseen to the list of speakers. So Chris Sanders, if you could take your 2 minutes now.
Hello. Yes, I am here to be in support of Canal Street pedestrianization, and Grand Street has a bike lane improvement, and there are some bus improvements also. I wanted to support that. I used to work right there on Spring and Varick, and Canal Street, very dangerous, as you all know. So I wanted to lend my support to the DOT for even attempting to do this. It's not perfect, but let's do it, and then we can improve it. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Chris. If there are no questions for Chris, we'll move on to the next speaker, Kevin O'Connor. Kevin?
Hi, I'm Kevin O'Connor. I'm a Manhattan resident, and I too am speaking in favor of the DOT's proposed changes to Canal Street. Personally, I'm disappointed that the east side of the Canal Street improvements have been delayed. My best friend, Kevin Cruikshank, was killed almost exactly a year ago. This is not a theoretical situation. He was killed along with May Kwan, when a car, I can't even call it an accident, sped off the Manhattan Bridge and killed him, who was on a sidewalk, and May Kwan, who was sitting on a bench on the sidewalk. I just want to emphasize this is not theoretical. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. People's lives are in danger, and I want to remind everyone that 22 people have died on Canal Street. If something had been done 18 months ago, my friend would still be here. Everyone in their lives has people that they've missed, that have been lost under tragic circumstances, and traffic circumstances for that matter. It hurts. Nobody should go through this. His parents are elderly and they don't have any support now, and it's unfair. It feels unfair. Such is life, but it doesn't have to be like this for another family. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Are there any questions for Kevin? If not, we'll move on to Michael Haseen.
Hey there. Yeah, I'm a resident of CB3, but I work in CB2 and commute and go shopping and run errands in CB2 all the time. Yeah, my office is on Canal Street. I typically bike or walk to work. I avoid Canal Street because it's impossible to walk or bike on it. So I'm here to just support the DOT's redesign of Canal Street, including the two-way bike lane on Grand Street and the left turn bans. And yeah, I'll echo what's been said, that we've been waiting too long for these changes. So just +1 that we need to do them as quickly as possible, and to not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. So yeah, please do the upgrades. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Michael. If there are any other speakers online, please raise your hand. I don't see any other speakers, so.
Eugene?
Yes.
That we have Andrea Peterson.
Okay. And
She's
is there
promoted.
also, okay, and I also see a Christopher Good with his hand up.
Okay.
But we'll move on to Andrea.
Okay.
So go ahead and speak.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for allowing us to speak today at your meeting. And I'm very glad that Kevin raised the issue about Kevin Cruikshank and May Kwong, who died just a year ago. So it would be very fitting if the board decided to go with this plan, because Canal Street is a mess. I've been crossing Canal Street for over 40 years. I worked in Tribeca. My children went to school there. I cross the street all the time. I mainly walk, but I would never ride my bicycle there. I think these improvements are really very simple. They're widening sidewalks, putting up bollards. It would be better if they put more planters than bollards, because those bollards just flip when people run over them, which is constant. And it would be great to have more daylighting on the street. And I have been on Canal Street with people in wheelchairs, and the sidewalks are a mess and they need to be wider. And I just think it's just ridiculous not to vote on this, really, because it's such a simple plan and it will solve many, many problems. And I really support it going from the west to the east. I think Chinatown needs this very badly as well. And I really hope you vote positively on it, because it's a wonderful plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. And then next we have Christopher Good. Christopher, if you can go ahead and speak. No?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, I live on Grand Street for 30 years. I own a large commercial building on Grand Street with hundreds of people that work there. I drive a car, and I just want to say I fully support the two-lane bike lane at Grand Street. I think it'll be a really good addition, and I support all the other changes to make our area safer to walk and ride bikes. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Christopher. And I believe that is all the speakers we have for the public session. I'll turn it back over to you, Donna.
Okay, and are there any other speakers in the room? No. Okay. Okay, come on up. I can't, you're behind the pole. And just state your name and you have 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Andy Hort. This is
Just want to say one thing. You can raise and lower the microphone with the dial in the middle there. There's a dial if you need to, because you need to speak into the microphone so that it gets on the screen. Sorry.
all right. I coach baseball, so I have a very projecting voice. My name is Andy Hort.
Hey, I'm David Lighton. Nice.
And we are on the board at 104 Charlton Street between Greenwich and Hudson. I've lived in this community for 57 years. And when I grew up in on Charlton Street, the building that I lived in was an old printing building, and I'm a printer. And on the corner was West House Storage. And then it became, it turned into a office building. And they used to have 2 loading docks, and they converted it to 1 loading dock. I brought actually a picture of their floor plan, and it only has 1 loading dock. And for years, they used it as 1 loading dock. And then there's a new super who moved in, and he decided that they were going to use it as 2 loading docks. And he uses these loading docks all the time for private cars, and it forces people to walk into the street. I brought pictures of something I took this morning, which is a person having to walk into the street because a private car sitting in the loading dock. We both have families and children, and constantly they're using the loading dock incorrectly. You're supposed to be, it's only for loading, and they're not loading at all. I have a picture here, which I can show you, of him charging his Tesla on it, and it's just different people in the building. And I've called 311 many times, and they honestly don't do anything. And we've come to our community board for help. That's my perspective. And here's Jonathan.
Hey, I'm David. So we think we understand the law relatively well, but
Just hang on 1 second. So you're a second speaker. But 1 speaker, 2 speakers, so you get 2 minutes. If Spillatos speaker card.
You get 2 minutes.
Okay, whatever works. I'm mostly
Same
going to
topic,
echo Andy. But in general, the loading dock is a major nuisance in the neighborhood, and we're just looking for some guidance on what the best way to deal with this is. We're not certain that getting a lawyer involved is the right way to deal with it. Maybe there's an agency, maybe there's a community board, maybe there's some other way to just shame them into stopping. But the principle of children having to walk in the street because the cars are obstructing the sidewalk all day is not acceptable, and we just are looking for your guidance on the best solution.
Have you gone to the community, the police?
The police?
Yeah, or the community council meetings and talked to them?
We haven't. This is our first step.
Okay, so that might be, is it, you're in the 6th precinct or the 1st precinct? They have Mark, do you want to give them your information? Go ahead. There we go. And Janine, did you have some suggestion?
Oh, great.
One I have, the other. Janine?
Andy, why don't you head back and talk to Grace Fitzgerald? She's with your council member's office and they will help you with this as well. And then if not, we can have it on our agenda at a future TNT. Grace is right there.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other speakers in the room? No. Okay, so make a move to adopt the agenda. Second. And so who, Dr. Smith? And who's second? Shirley Secunda. Okay. Okay, now we will go to the elected officials reports. Hang on one second. Do we have here for that? Or come on, who's here? Come on up while I'm finding my list. Okay. Okay. Go ahead. Yep.
Hey, everyone.
You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Sharif Krabti. I'm a legislative aide and community affairs liaison for State Senator Brian Kavanaugh. Happy to be here tonight. I don't have a ton of updates for those of you who don't know. Senator Kavanaugh did not seek re-election this year, so the term goes through the end of the calendar year. And so a little bit later on the updates as a result of that. But just a couple quick ones. Assemblymember Lee went over this earlier. As part of the state budget this year, we passed a increase to the screen injury programs from 50,000 to 75,000, and needs a local law to adopt it. Each local municipality has to choose to adopt it from the state level. So we, as she mentioned, Councilmember Farrah Lewis introduced bill. It's intro 978 if you want to look it up. But this adopts that for New York City. I'll also add to her on her report on that is that it is set to be retroactive to July 1st. So for those folks who apply anytime after July 1st, even before that bill is signed into law, once it does so, once it's actually adopted by the city, they will get their benefits retroactively posted from when they applied after July 1st. So that's an important note for that. So we'll continue to support the council in their efforts to pass that. And then I'll also just add on the community side, we'll be at National Night Out in a couple weeks with the 6th and, at NYCHA family days and things like that. And just in general, make sure to, just because Senator Kavanaugh will not be a senator next year, we are still fully open. I invite everyone to come to us if you have any issues in the community. Our door's still open and we're planning to serve you through the rest of this year. Yeah, any other questions? Any questions for me? Yeah, Katie.
Can you send in writing this provision that anyone who applies today for scree and dree can get the retroactive increase? Because there's a lot of chatter in the tenant community and the advocates, I've worked on this a long time. about that. It's like a little hole, and people don't know whether they should put their paperwork in or not. So if you have my email, so if you could send it to me in writing, it would be very helpful for
Yeah,
a
I'll
lot of people.
Yeah, I'll definitely send that to you. And yeah, I think from, our perspective, we're still trying to get some answers and more information about how that will actually work with DOF and HBD and how they actually process those cases. My general guidance for folks that call to our office and have that question is that, generally it seems like there's no harm in applying now. And then once it is passed, assuming that they can keep that retroactive provision in it, you just you can get your retroactive benefits, and then if not, you can reapply once that bill is passed. But I want to it's an ongoing process to figure out what that looks like on a technical level.
People are a little nervous that if they apply and get rejected, then that'll be a black mark, or a problem when they reapply.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, it's a great question. One thing I'll also add so I think in the past have given updates about SCREE and DREE, which are the rent freeze programs for senior and disabled tenants. There are the SHE and D programs, which are similar programs, but they're tax abatements for senior and disabled homeowners, including co-op and condo owners. So we also passed an increase to 75,000 for those two programs in the state budget, but and Katie knows this well. That provision does not go into effect until July 1st, 2027 next year. So in case anyone was wondering why I didn't talk about SHE and D, that will take place next year. We still need a local law to do that here in New York. And so the council, I know that council is working on drafting up a version for SHE and D. It has to be passed separately as well. It has to be a separate bill in the city council.
Well, thanks to the senator again.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Any other questions? I think you're good.
Thanks.
Thank you. Monica, there's a dial in the middle. You can turn and lower it.
Hey everyone, I'm Monica from Councilmember Epstein's office. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Mark. I'm Monica from Councilmember Epstein's office. I want to start off by talking about a series of events that I'm really proud of that our office has been doing. Earlier in the year, Councilmember Epstein passed some legislation that mandates the government to provide assistance in navigating student loan forgiveness. And we are now doing a series of events. You can find the calendar on our social media, where we are collaborating with the Department of Consumer and Worker Protections, tabling at a variety of neighborhoods and all 5 boroughs, and we have financial advisors, members of DCWP on site, getting people signed up with free appointments to navigate student loan forgiveness. So if you know someone who is struggling with the process, please send them our way. It's been super fun, super rewarding, and I encourage all of you or anyone who has student loans to check it out. On the animal welfare front, shout out to Councilmember Marte for, an amazing hearing on Ramanch's law. And we also passed a budget with a historic expansion in animal welfare funding in the form of pet food pantries and spay-neuter funding. So super proud of that. And then we are planning all of our events, our upcoming events are in here, but the one that is most relevant to this group is we're having our Hang with Harvey next Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. in the northwest corner of Washington Square Park. So if you want to go talk to the council member in a space where he literally cannot run away from you, he will be there for 2 hours straight, no escape. I really encourage you to go chat his ear off, bring your issues. Staff will be there as well. We'll have giveaways. It'll be a great time. And then we're planning our fall events right now, which is something to look forward to, but I guess also on the animal welfare front with that, we are currently planning our vegan roast giveaway. And we have our Movies in the Park series, which is detailed in this packet, which you can find at the table in the front. Those are all of my updates. I'm happy to take questions. Yeah. Which?
Cormac, get a microphone.
Oh, sorry.
Can you repeat when that meeting is that you were just talking about?
The Hang with Harvey?
Yeah.
It's going to be next Thursday next Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. in the northwest corner of Washington Square Park.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Amy, need a mic.
Hi, can you?
Hi, Amy.
Hi. First, I want to say thank you to you, Monica, and to Harvey Epstein for your support and I can't tell you how much Monica did working with us, a huge amount on the 4th Avenue, Lafayette Street.
Thank you, Amy.
And I will be following up with you on that. But I really want to say thank you and call out everything you did. I do have a question though. DOT has talked about the Broadway redesign, which will actually impact 4th Avenue and Lafayette. And I know we talked about the fact that they did not come to the community, they came to the village bid. That might answer Pete Davies' question there, the village bid and Wegmans prior to presenting to the community board. And we'd like them to kind of follow more of the structure that they did for Canal Street, where they had a huge open meeting with residents with an early version. Do you know how that's going or? Yeah.
So unfortunately, our contact at DOT, I learned today, I mean, good for her, happy for her, but she's actually going to be departing and they're undergoing a transition. However, with Kate, I'm sure you've communicated with her as well, we made it very, very clear that that process was really unacceptable. And I'm optimistic that they will learn from the amount of feedback that they received from the community, this board in particular, this neighborhood in particular, about how that process was. And it is something that we will continue to push for, that they always consult the boards. And it is something that we are practicing in other areas where issues are being raised, that they come to the boards first.
Even before the board, they had a big community-wide meeting for Canal Street with an early version. So they heard from the community, not just the 6 or 7 or 8 people on the community board. Okay, so that's really what we're hoping for, a similar process what they did with Canal Street.
And we're happy to facilitate a town hall of that nature. I know that we did something similar for the East Third intake center relocation. We completely agree. That is always the best way to go about things. And so that is something that we will continue to push for.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, Monica.
Hi, Katie.
I'm giving you a question, but it's really for for your colleagues as well, and it's about Scree. Intro 978 is in the pipeline to authorize this cap increase from $50,000 to $75,000. Every one of our council members for this community board has become a sponsor, either in the last few weeks, which is terrific. However, the Scree advocacy community would like the public hearing to be held this summer. I know that public hearings aren't normally held in the summer. We realize that, but we would rather not have this drift over to September. So we're asking those of you who are being great supporters, Councilmember Wilson, Councilmember Marte, Councilmember Epstein, to try to work with the speaker to get a hearing before September, because people really want that relief. You know, that's about affordability, and they really want that relief as soon as possible.
I hear that, Katie. We've tried to get other hearings scheduled over the summer for various bills and have been pretty unsuccessful, but I'll raise this, like I'll tell our legislative director and I'll inform the council member that this is on like our constituents' minds, and we'll see what we can do. Thankfully, I mean, Connor may know this better than me, having a little more experience in the council, but I'm pretty sure like it's not going to be like the bill will not. I understand the urgency completely. Hopefully September will be like the earliest and it won't get pushed later into the fall if it's not able to happen over the summer.
Well, we were a little bit hopeful because last Wednesday at the hearing on oversight hearing on Mitchell-Lama, the speaker did talk about this issue and she seems very positive. So, you know, if there's any way to get it pushed forward on the calendar, we'd appreciate it.
Okay, I'll raise that. Thank you, Katie.
Anybody else have any questions? I think you're good.
Hello. Hi, my name is Josh Furman. I'm from Congressman Dan Goldman's office. This is actually my first Community Board 2 meeting, so I'm introducing myself. Very quick report in the interest of time. The Congressman is happy to announce that he has helped free the 51st person from unlawful ICE detention through his rapid response triage center located in his Manhattan district office. Just very briefly, if you, a friend, a loved one, perfect stranger that you run into is ever concerned about or is experiencing a detention from ICE, please feel free to reach out to our office. You can call our office. You can go to our office in 290 Broadway. We're here to help in regards to that. In DC, the congressman, along with Congressman Jerry Nadler, introduced the No 9/11 Family Left Behind Act, which would amend the 9/11 Compensation Fund to make an estimated newly 150 9/11 families eligible for compensation who were previously uneligible. And then finally, the congressman, along with both senators in New York, led the New York congressional delegation in demanding an investigation into the Trump administration's decision to move the Army Corps of Engineers, New York District, and North Atlantic Division's offices from federally owned facilities here in Manhattan to privately owned facilities in New Jersey. In addition, like State Senator Kavanaugh, we're here until the end of our term. So if you have any issues, anything that we can be of any assistance with, please feel free to reach out to our office. We're here until the end of our term. Thank you. Any questions?
Questions?
All right, thank
Okay,
you.
good. Thanks a lot.
Right. Hi, everyone. I'm here from Assemblymember Glick's office. I can be the third person to say we're here through the end of the calendar year. Our office is still open, so please call us, email us if you need anything. Just a few quick updates. So we heard a lot about flooding this past weekend from the Soho area. Given the extreme weather events last weekend, the New York City Office of Emergency Management is asking residents and businesses to report any damage to their property due to recent flooding. So you can find that information form through nyc.id, or you can call by phone. It's in our board report, or you can ask me for that information. Your report will assist the city in providing accurate data on the impact of this event to state and federal agencies. There's also resources for small businesses that experience significant damage. So that is also in our board report, or you can just ask me for that information. And then lastly, Assemblymember Glick submitted her testimony this week, last week, urging support for the protection of horses in New York City and banning horse-drawn carriages. Once again, kudos to Councilmember Marte's office for organizing the hearing and yeah. So thanks so much. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yi Wayne, and I'm covering for Andrew tonight. He's taking some well-deserved time out this summer. So I'm a community liaison east and west of Community Board 2, which is Community Board 3 and 4. I'm not quite familiar with the community board business, but I'll try my best to answer your question. So first of all, I'm pretty sure that if you are aware, there's a Legionnaire disease breakout at the east side of Manhattan. And as of now, 5 people died in Upper East Side because of this disease. So if you have, or your friends or family, or you know someone have the symptoms like cough, like fever, or difficulty breathing, please seek medical support. Don't hesitate. If you have any questions, you can call our office or call Department of Health and Hospital, or call anyone call a doctor. And if you know anyone that have undocumented status, don't hesitate. We won't check your immigration status. And second is that in my district in CB4, there's a Pfizer building who had partial collapse of the structure. So because there are still a lot of projects that are seeking, or buildings are seeking residential to commercial to residential conversions. So in order to avoid future disasters, the borough president is in support of a thorough investigation into this partial collapse. So until this investigation is done and we find the real reason for that building, we are not going to approve any commercial to residential approval at this moment. And some summary for the past 6 months that the borough president has been in this office. So we have he devoted entire of our capital budget to the arts and cultural industry, and it's $50 million. And through our multiplier program, now we have additional $35 million from the private and philanthropies or private fund. So it's now $85 million in total. So we encourage this to happen more in the future so we can have more fundings towards the arts and cultural industry.
Okay, I think you need to wrap it up.
Wrapping up. So another thing is that the borough president shows his support for the more affordable housing, especially at city-owned sites such as 388 Hudson Street and Gainsborough Square. And also that we met with the DOT earlier this month regarding the Canal Street redesign project. We will continue to follow up. That if we hear anything, we would like to update the board as soon as we can. Thank you very much.
Does anybody have any questions? Can we
Yes.
get some microphones in the back and in the front?
Hello. How long is the investigation for the
We are not sure because we are not doing the investigation. It's actually the building department is doing the investigation, but we are in full support of a thorough investigation of that building because we want to avoid future disasters, a similar situation happen in the future.
As we're currently in a housing crisis, to stop all commercial to residential conversion because of that one building seems unreasonable.
Oh, I know. We are not like, we are supporting this, but the thing is that if we do not know the real reason behind this collapse, we don't know if same thing will happen in the future.
There have been many conversions with no problem. So you're trying to be perfect for something that I think you have to outweigh different interests.
We're not going to keep doing the back and forth with this, so you can reach out separately.
Yes, I'll definitely relate your comments or feedback back to our office.
Arturo?
Yeah, I'd also just like to second her comments. I think it's a little bit naive to pause is your office making the decision or you're supporting?
No, it's not our office. We're just calling for this.
Okay. I don't think that's the right call. I mean, I think we definitely need an investigation into this, but I think there are a lot of other factors that are specific to that building that make this a unique case. And that doesn't feel like the right decision to make during a housing crisis.
Our office is definitely in full support of affordable housing, and we encourage more housing across all Manhattan. And we will definitely put the Manhattanites' interest as priority.
So who is deciding to pause?
We're not, you have to be called on, and we've had the question, so go ahead.
Okay, also on that same issue, that housing, who is you said that you're calling for an investigation. Who is supposed to investigate it? What city agency, state agency, who normally supervises, or there was no supervision and it just comes up as it comes up? Who would investigate if we do get an investigation?
Of course, building department is going to investigate into this. And also, as of if there are other agencies also going to investigate into this, I have to go back and look for that. But city is definitely going to look into that.
Hi, can you say, I'm over here.
Oh, okay.
Can you say, is it on? Yeah. Share a little more about the 50 million for cultural institutions. Is that going to applications that have already been made for Reso-A money, or is that new money?
So that's the capital money that our office get every year. And we have already had applications, and the deadline is already met. And we have already made our decision. But this is something we would encourage in the future. This is something that the borough president came up brand new this year. So introducing private parties is something that we have never done before, and we encourage such things in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the public? Okay.
Thank you.
Connor.
I'll try to go quick. Okay, hi, everybody. It's Connor from Councilmember Marchi's office. As was mentioned, thanks for the shout out, guys. We had our hearing on Romanch's law, to ban horse carriages in New York City. The hearing was very successful. It was over 10 hours. We heard from the family of Romanch Mahajan, who is the man who was tragically killed in a horse accident. The family urging to pass the law so that no one else has to deal with the situation they're in right now. And there were hundreds of advocates and a lot of regular New Yorkers who just support this cause. We're also in conversation with the administration and the Speaker's office to flesh out transition for horse carriage drivers into other work, since that's something that people have raised concerns about. And we're also coordinating with horse sanctuaries to actually place the horses that are currently in the industry into those sanctuaries once the ban comes into effect. The bill has 28 co-sponsors and the support of the Speaker, so we're very excited for it to potentially pass in the near future. I won't drag on about Scree and Dree. The one thing I will say is, yeah, like our office is here to support. We've supported a lot of people apply to Scree and Dree and renew those statuses as well. And we have heard the instruction that since it became effective on July 1st, that you can apply now and you get retroactive coverage. And council member, like we also are the prime sponsor for the She-D bill that was introduced. So we're excited to pass that before it comes time next year. The budget was passed. A couple wins in the district are roof replacement for Gotham Health Judson, CCTV upgrades for Mulberry Street Library, computer and printer upgrades for PS 130. And there's some other stuff on here, but those are some of the key ones for CB2. And then we've been tracking the city bike station relocation in front of 284 Lafayette, because I know that's been concerning for a lot of residents there. So we've been in touch with DOT about this and are hoping to resolve that issue. And then lastly, we continue to push the administration on ongoing vending issues in addition to the redesign for Canal Street. We know that vending continues to be a huge issue for Canal Street and Broadway. And so most recently, we've taken up an effort to try to address specifically the illegal truck vending along Broadway, since that's been its own unique issue. And that's all been illegal and also been mostly large corporations that have been violating that. So we're hoping that we can renew an effort to police headquarters to try to address that as part of the larger vending issue. And that's it. Any questions?
Any questions, anybody?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Keen, no, hang on, Keen. Can we get a microphone? Does anybody?
Yes, this whole question of extending the Canal Street stuff further east, is that part of your purview?
I mean, so we certainly advocate for better safety implementations like across Canal Street. The way I understand it is they're first implementing these changes on the western side and along Grand Street. From what I understand from the materials from DOT, because it's so complicated on the eastern side, I think they're continuing to look at and study that area so that whatever they implement can address the severity of the issues in that area. But we agree, like it's so bad over there, it shouldn't take much more time before another accident happens. So yeah, we'll continue to advocate for DOT to implement safety measures on that side of Broadway as well.
Thank you.
No problem.
Anybody else?
Cool.
Thank you, Connor.
All right, thank you.
That's the end of the. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Grace Fitzgerald. I just started as the Community Affairs Manager from Councilmember Wilson's office. So as I mentioned before, in addition to being the liaison to this board, I'm also here to help with any constituent service needs that you may have. I have plenty of updates from the budget, but given that there was some discussion around SCREE and DREE, I wanted to jump ahead to say that next Tuesday, July 28th, our office will be partnering with the Mayor's Public Engagement Unit to provide free one-on-one application assistance for rent freeze programs, including both SCREE, DREE, and the homeowner property tax exemption programs. A representative from the Public Engagement Unit will be available from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at our district office by scheduled appointment. If you would like to schedule an appointment, please email us or you can see me after the meeting to answer questions about your application. Jumping back to budget updates, we just wrapped up our first budget season. Some of the big citywide wins include the expansion of New York City Kids Rise. The council secured a historic 10-fold expansion, increasing children's college savings to $1,000 for every New York City public school kindergartner. Fair Fares was also expanded, the largest expansion in the program's history, increasing eligibility to 200% of the federal poverty level so that more low-income New Yorkers can afford public transit. The council secured full restoration of funding for parks to support an additional 100 PEP officers, 11 Green Thumb employees, and roughly 4,000 stump removals. At the council's urging, the administration restored $34.7 million to support systems operations within the 3 public library branches and for additional 7 days service. And the council is contributing an additional $1 million for any unmet expense needs in libraries, bringing the total investment in libraries to a record level. In our district, especially CB2, there was a district-wide allocation of $150,000 for tree guards for side streets, which was a winner of the participatory budget process. Another participatory budgeting winner was $250,000 to the New York Public Library for security upgrades and $150,000 to improve the PS3 Charette School Cafeteria's HVAC system. Our office's annual Farm to Senior program has also begun. It will run through October 27th. Through that program, every 2 weeks, constituents of any age, not just seniors, can visit one of our partner senior centers and order a produce pack for $10 in cash. And the following Tuesday, pre-packed grocery bags will be available for pickup. Is that my time? Thank you. If you're interested in any of these programs, I did bring flyers and you can see me afterwards. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? Did you have one more? Okay, a quick correction, yep.
Sorry, I just want to correct that the borough president actually did not ask for a pause. He just did ask for a thorough and full investigation into this cause of this partial structural collapse. And he wants to make sure that as the city goes through further major conversion project, that all steps are taken to avoid further potential disasters.
So there is no pause.
There's no pause. Sorry, it's my misread.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
All right.
Oh, you have a question? Sorry, Katie.
Hello? Oh, yeah. So I just want to be very clear. Nice to see you, Grace. We've emailed back and forth. So if someone comes to this workshop that you're having about SCREE and DREE and their income is over $50,000, you're going to take the application and submit it later? Or what are you going to do?
So the reason that we have a representative from the Mayor's Office of Public Engagement is so that they can answer some of these higher level questions that our office is really not equipped to answer.
Okay.
So that's the.
Okay, so someone could come and talk to them and see if it's a good idea to apply. Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay, now I think you're good.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot. Okay, I will turn it over to our chair, Valerie De La Rosa, for the chair's report.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here this evening. Before we begin, I just want to thank everyone, board members, committee chairs, public members, if there are any here online. the staff and everyone in the community who has participated in this month's committee meetings. I know that it is a lot, and I thank you for your flexibility, your time, and for prioritizing making our community district a little better. I want to remind everyone that National Night Out is coming up. It's in 2 weeks. It's on Tuesday, August 4th. At NYPD precincts host these around the city. Is also a national night out, so also around the country. And we have the 6th, which is all of it is within Community District 2, and then we also have the 1st, the 5th, and the 9th. I usually make it to 3 out of the 4. I never can seem to make it to the 9th, so maybe I'll try a little bit this year. But we'll have all that information in the newsletter or in the e-blast. I highly recommend taking a few minutes out of your evening to go stop by. It's really nice to interact and also just meet other people in the community and also tell them about the wonderful work that the board and that you do. Other than that, some other things that I hadn't mentioned from before. I want to thank Mark for the visiting neighbors. There was a visiting neighbors, as you know, is our neighbor in the first floor of the building that we're in at Washington Square Village, a wonderful nonprofit organization. And they had a senior talent show. It was their 32nd annual, if you can believe it, senior talent show. And they were kind to have to ask someone to serve as a judge. So I served as a judge for there to represent the community. A lot of the elected officials were there to give out different awards, and it was quite lovely. And other than that, I know that we have it looks like a short agenda, but you just never know where the evening will go. So I just want to, you just never know. But I do want to say, we don't have a full board meeting in August. So if you're a new board member, that we don't have this forum next month. So enjoy your time off. We will have a few committee meetings. We really try to keep our August agenda just to the committees that have active applications that come in from an agency. Our board does not really take a break compared to some of the other boards across Manhattan and or the outer boroughs. And with that, I hope that the new board members will check out some of those application-driven committees. And we're going to get ready for a robust fall. There's a lot going on, and I look forward to sharing more about that with you soon. It is the time of year. We did take a year pause on having a planning fellow. Really want to focus on having a project that is a proposal or project proposal that is intentful and will deliver something that will be of value both to the student and to the board and the public. So we are going to look at if there's any if you have any proposals or ideas. It's really, really important for if you are interested or you have an idea to reach out to me directly. We really want, this is a big commitment that does require managing an intern of sorts, a graduate student. But I always say if it's not in time for this year, and again, my term as chair does end in a few months in March or April 1, 2027, if you can believe we're going to be in 2027 soon. It is important though to get it started on a proposal, regardless if it goes in for this year, but again, for what's best for the board in the future. So I'm always a big fan of planning ahead in that way. I think, yes, just 1 minute. Let me just see if I have anything else I wanted to add on there. I think I'm going to keep it at that. We have a lot going on, and I will turn over to Mark in just a second, but I see that Dr. Smith had her hand raised.
it's in reference to what you said about the intern. Do you know the specific areas that you're interested in at this point, or you're just mentioning it?
I'm just mentioning it, a lot, we're a volunteer driven board, we're all volunteer driven here. So it does require someone's time and care and whatnot. There is a set of parameters that are on the website that explain that, they typically tend to be a planning student or somewhere in the realm of community type of planning. Kind of, yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. And I always start my remarks with thanks, and today is perhaps even more on steroids. I asked Connor and Monica to stay because my first thanks go to council members Epstein and Marte because they contributed member items to the budget for Community Board 2. So thank you, thank you, thank you. In the past, we've used those monies to buy equipment that we need that doesn't come through our budget, that to retain consultants, some of the land use things and other consultants. So we make good use of the money, and we're grateful for the support because the community board budget, as you've heard me say every month, hasn't changed in, 12 years now, 13? And this past budget is no exception. So the additional support will be well used and is much appreciated. While I'm saying thanks, I also wanted to echo the thanks to the Fund for the City of New York, not just for the intern program or the graduate fellow program, I'm sorry, but because they hosted us for the executive committee this past week. And a special thanks to Stephen, I'm going to mispronounce his name, Mendevelso, excuse me, and David Colon, and of course the wonderful Aldrin Bonilla for making it possible for us to use that beautiful space. The rains kept a lot of people away or kept them on Zoom, but it was great to have not have to cram everybody into our tiny little conference room. And if you saw me running around and pulling out the rest of my hair that night, trying to get the audio to work, you know that my next thanks is going to go to John because we can all hear each other, can't we, today? So thank you for that. And let's thank Dorothy as well as Valentine and Arlene. Dorothy is with us tonight, our NYU hosts. So thank you all very much for the support that we get. It really does make a huge difference in how easily we can have the right discussions in the right context. I want to highlight for just not only for the board members here, but for the public listening at home, the district needs statement includes statements of budget priorities, and the community board works on developing those. Our committees should be thinking about putting that on their September agendas to hear from the public and to formulate those priorities. Some of you have already started that work, and that's great. There is a survey that is part of our e-blast. It's usually the first item underneath the next upcoming meetings. It's also on our website because I put the items of interest from the previous e-blast onto the homepage of our website, so you can find it there. Please fill out that survey and let us know where you think the community board should be advocating for budgets. We are in the throes of preparing what are called budget consultations. There are 3 days in September where all 12 Manhattan community boards, and then of course the other boroughs too, one by one meet with about 24 agencies or 18 agencies and try to ask them how they spend their money, where they need more money, and what the programming that corresponds to that is. The district managers divide up the questions, so I'll be leading the Department of Education, the Administration for Children's Services, the Department of Youth and Community Development, and HRA, the Human Resources Administration, questioning. While the district managers tend to take the laboring oar on this, committee chairs and committee members are welcome to come. I will publish the list of dates as soon as we have them. And I will also provide the committee chairs with the same kind of memo I did last year about what's on our Google Drive and where you can find these things. Let's see. Apropos of our thanks to the council members, we were succeeded in spending essentially all of the budget that we were given, despite some speed bumps given to us by the Office of Management and Budget, including stocking up on things like
paper and things like that, so that we're well equipped going into the next year, so that if there are curveballs that require, for example, consultants, that we'll have the money to spend on that. Keep an eye on the calendar in the coming e-blasts. The SLA1 will meet on a Wednesday instead of its usual Tuesday. That's in order to facilitate everybody going to National Night Out. I echo the recommendation that you try out at least one of our 4 precincts. Parks and Waterfront may be the following Wednesday, but please stay tuned. That hasn't been finalized yet. The Commission on Government Efficiency, COGE, has released its proposals. You may want, community board members in particular may want to take a look at item number 3. I anticipate that there will be an amendment offered to one of the resolutions tonight, the one coming out of exec. We have the text of that proposed amendment, at least as of 3 o'clock this afternoon, to distribute if and when anybody wants a copy. Unless there are questions, that's my report. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Oh, next we're going to go to business session. So I'm going to turn over to our Assistant Secretary, DJ, who will take a roll call.
Thanks, Mallory. Chris Arroyo, Will Benesh, Keen Berger, Carter Booth, Katie Bordenaro, Kate Bostock, Anita Brandt, Amy Brenna, Rich Cacapolo, Nina Chen, Valerie De La Rosa,
Here.
Manaswini Dixit, Arturo Fernandez, Stella Fitzgerald, Carmack Flynn, Eileen Gribben, David Gruber, Jill Hannekamp, DJ Jane is here, Susan Kent, Janine Kiley, Patricia Laria, Janet Lith, Alec Perchnicki, Donna Raftery, Lois Rakoff, Sean Ryan, David Sandman, Rocio Sands, Shirley Secunda, Eddie Siegel, Federica Siegel, Dr. Smith, Dr. Shirley Smith, sorry about that, Chenault Spence.
Here, yes.
Susan Wittenberg, Anthony Wong, Eugene Yu,
Here.
and we have a quorum.
Thank you so much. With that, I will ask if we have approval of the, I believe they're going to be the June full board minutes. It says May on here. That's okay. So do I have do I have an approval and a motion?
There were suggestions about the attendance from the June meeting, and the secretary who took those minutes is not here. So perhaps we would approve them subject to the clarifications of that, or a resolution of those, or we can put it off to September.
I mean, I think we don't have anyone here who's making the correction, so I think we'll just move forward. All right, do we have any further amendments or questions about the minutes for the June meeting? Do we have a motion to approve? Okay, so I have a second. Okay, great, thank you. Next, we will go to resolutions from standing committees. So we'll start with the executive committee. So I will just quickly. Oops. Go to that. So as you may have seen from the emails or the calendar, due to a city charter specific number in the charter, which I don't have memorized, so I'm not going to attempt to hear. We had 10 days to review what was the update for the proposed Canal Street redesign from DOT. So if we had not heard this item at the executive committee, we would not be able to have a board position on this item. So that's fun, right? So we'll go to that right now. So thank you for your patience. So let's just go to, I think this starts on, here we go. Therefore, be it resolved that Community Board 2 recommends that the New York City Department of Transportation immediately revise its Phase 1 Canal Street and Grand Street to items 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm not going to read those out loud. If you have any objection to that, let me know now and I can read them exactly line by line. I'm not seeing any, so I'm going to continue. Be it further resolved that CB2 supports the proposed two-way proposed protected bike lane on Grand Street between Varick Street and Forsyth Street, subject to the addition, which is bolded here, of DOT's full toolkit to enhance pedestrian safety, including but not limited to rumble strips, signage, and narrowing of bike lanes and intersections. Be it further resolved that CB2 strongly urges the mayor and DOT to, and I will just read the bold of these. Number 1, coordinate with DEP to fund and implement flood mitigation strategies. 2, prioritize enforcement of illegal sidewalk vending. 3, incorporate the integration of micro-mobility onto Canal Street. Be it further resolved that CB2 requests that DOT 1, report back to the board before the final implementation of Phase 1 regarding these recommendations and incorporate these principles into the design of Phase 2 from Broadway to the Manhattan Bridge. And 2, present a preliminary presentation 1 month in advance of any public hearing so that the community can review and more efficiently address proposed changes. And be it further resolved that CB2 urges DOT to equitably implement its redesigns and adopt a consistent citywide practice of incorporating pedestrian safety improvements into all new bicycle infrastructure projects, particularly two-way protected bike lanes, so that every community receives the same level of protection without having to request additional safety measures during the public review process. The vote was 5 in favor, with 3 opposed, no abstentions, and no recusals. Janine?
I have an amendment to this. I would like the under be further resolved, number 2, present preliminary presentations 1 month in advance. I know we discussed this quickly at the meeting. I would like to replace it with language that you all should have in front of you. It's language that we included in the May resolution on Lafayette 4th Avenue. Be it finally resolved that going forward, CB2 urges DOT to precisely describe and communicate its proposed street designs, which, by the way, they did this month, conduct extensive outreach to all stakeholders, including residents and small businesses, prior to presenting final plans, which we are still pushing on, and share draft presentations with CB2 at least 1 week prior to a public meeting. I just think 1 week is a much more reasonable request. If I have a presentation next month, I certainly haven't already written it. And typical policy for corporate boards for Fortune 100 companies is typically a week or 5 to 7 days. So for something major, it might be 2 weeks, but it's never a month. So that's my proposal, and I'll have the language in front of you.
Is there like a number? Like I'm confused as to maybe others, or is everyone clear on what parts are going where? Did you want to ask something?
Janine, I'm just not sure what this is, where it's located in the reso.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. It is on, it's hard. It's on the executive committee, page 8 of 8, where it says this, be it further resolved, it's number 2, presented preliminary presentation 1 month. Replace that text with what's there. And
So so before we have any more discussion on this, I have a motion, an amendment on the floor. Do we have a second? Second from Eddie. Now we can debate this amendment. Carter, did you have your hand up? And Katie?
As the person who had added this, I don't think the substitute actually addresses the issue. And that's that DOT knows very far in advance all these issues and what they are. And they come to us in a very rushed manner. And this says that CB2 will get a draft presentation, which we did this month as well. The problem is the community doesn't. And the community, most of these are major changes, and there's not an opportunity to take a look at them, talk to your neighbors, different community groups, and stakeholder groups are a little bit vague, and it suggests private meetings as opposed to just tell us what's happening. The arguments about what DOT had pushed back to us was that they don't want to give just a slide presentation because it lacks the context of their verbal presentation. And I think that it was brought up at the meeting, oh, this requires an extensive DOT staff, and it's not really true. They just need to come to us, give us a brief overview of what they're doing with the slides, and then come back with the people to answer all the questions the following month. But this happens regularly in land use and in other areas on complex matters. And if you had a chance to review the presentation on Canal Street, is very extensive. The reason we have an extensive resolution that was presented at the meeting was because we got a sneak peek. The community did not. And the community can't keep being pushed out of these extensive changes because DOT is generally looking at this as a citywide issue, which is their purview. But our obligation is to give back our community's response on how it's going to impact the community. Sharing information a month in advance is not scary. It's not overly complicated. DOT knows well in advance that they're coming to us with most of these. And I think that what we keep hearing from the community is we didn't have enough time to look at what's proposed. And when it's proposed on the fly at a meeting or to Community Board 2 in advance, but not to the public, we just don't get meaningful input. And most of these issues are not scary. They're generally good changes, that they have a lot of good things, but there's small tweaks that can be made, but you can't make recommendations unless all the information is presented the first time. And we saw the consequence of that with Lafayette Street, where we had 3 different meetings on it, when if we'd gotten all this stuff in the beginning and people could reflect on it and respond, it would have been a much more efficient process. So I think that following corporate governance and or whatever that is not really what we should be doing here, when what we're trying to do is to get the community involved and provide feedback. So thank you.
Yeah, and I'll say that I've, I advocated to that and extensively with DOT and with our other agency partners, including HPD, when we've been briefed on items. And you're exactly right. The Manhattan Borough Commissioner on this one, just again had the context answer that they also said at the meeting. And when I proposed, I'm trying to not have for this board to have a committee to have 3 meetings on something. That's a lot of people's time and the public's time. And it's just inefficient, and it's inefficient to run the meetings that way. There was talks, people were expecting, that we're planning this, we're expecting a 3.5-hour meeting on Tuesday, and we just don't have that, and we don't have venues that can hold us for that long, or we cut it really close and we lose that goodwill with people who loan us their space. When I asked the Manhattan Borough Commissioner, could we post it at 6:30 the night of the meeting, she goes, well, I don't think that's going to make the meeting any shorter. And I said, thank you. That's exactly the entire point of having 52 slides ahead of time for people to be able to come with questions. So I certainly am trying, and I know, and we're trying to also be good partners to all the agencies we work with as well. But it is frustrating. I'll go to Janine.
The intent was that it would be shared publicly, so I would change share draft presentations, get rid of with CB2 and share publicly. And I will say I watched part of the Community Board 1 presentation last night, and they actually made changes based on a lot of the questions we asked the previous night. So it could easily be a link to their website that's automatically connected to ours that says updated July 21st, July 22nd. But so I would just change, the intent was share publicly, it wasn't share privately. And I will say it's important. I mean, I wrote this resolution. I spent a lot of time pouring through those slides. I took screenshots and, you know, that's the kind of work that takes to go into something like this, and you can't do it on the fly.
Right, and you were able to bring a very ripe resolution to be reviewed at the actual committee meeting and not, you know, just talked around. Any other on this amendment? Katie, were you still waiting to go? Had you not been called on yet?
I haven't gone.
Okay, go, and then we'll go to Janet. I
I ju-
apologize.
No problem. I just wanted to find out if it's a calendar week or a business week. Is it 5 days or 7 days that you're asking for this week's notice? I think that's better. Yeah, okay. I think Frederica has her hand up. Is that true?
Okay, I didn't see it up, so Frederica.
At the very bottom, the last item, proposed addition to June 2026, add above language from Canal Street Reso. Is that all of the language? Janine?
Are we voting? Yeah, is this like for a separate resolution?
No, it's changing that language that I put. If you hold the resolution in front of you, the original resolution, which is on page 8 of the TNT packet or the executive committee packet, it is where it says page 8, be it further resolved, it's the number 2, getting rid of present a preliminary presentation and replace it, the current language, get rid of that and replace it with what I wrote there, change to share draft presentations publicly at least 7 actual days prior to a public meeting.
I just quickly to second what Janine, I'm sorry.
Janet.
Thank you, I'm sorry. They do continuously revise these plans, and the point, I mean, we agree, we really need to see it ahead of time, and 7 days, you know, it's not, the point is to have, whether somebody has a week or a month, they may not get to it till 2 or 3 days before our meeting anyway. So I think that I just second Janine's proposal that a full week is a reasonable expectation.
Not yet, Nina. We have someone up here.
I wanted to agree with the gentleman over there who spoke to continue the more extended review period. You know, new member of the board, this Canal Street project seems immensely complicated, just trying to wrap my own head around it. And I think, you know, abbreviating the chance for meaningful public participation and input seems very ill-advised. I don't think following a corporate governance model is applicable at all to the spirit of this board or why community boards. The justification for the weeks is that's corporate governance. You're looking at me quizzically. I'm saying I don't think following corporate governance practices is a good idea or appropriate for a community board. And I would support maintaining what I think is the 1-month review period as it currently stands.
Okay, I mean, I'm not here to justify or anything that. I will say that we do run on corporate governance standards, as that's practice for the way a board runs, but that's a whole other topic.
No, I don't think you understood my point. Part of the rationale for using a 1-week notice period says boards of publicly traded companies do that. Well, this is not a publicly traded company. This is a public community board that's supposed to seek meaningful community input. And I don't think 1 week provides adequate time for that.
Okay. At the end, we have the amendment on the floor, so that we will be voting on whether or not this language goes in or out, and that's, you're welcome to have that viewpoint. Nina?
Now that I'm working inside a government agency and also have been outside the government agency providing inputs, I do agree with Janet said in terms of agency change things until last minute. And I think the 1 week is reasonable to provide responses. So I support the amendment.
Sorry, I couldn't see Amy.
On. Nothing to apologize for, Val. You're doing a great job. I agree. I've worked in the corporate world. A month is a lot to ask, and they're still working on it. However, just having gone through this fire drill with Lafayette Avenue and Fourth Avenue, and Lafayette Street, if you are working with the public, they don't understand half of what they're reading. They don't understand the language. They don't understand it. I had charts. I had drawings. I was sitting explaining it. I used pens. I think 2 weeks would be good. I think that would be a good compromise because it gives somebody like me or whatever, if they're calling the board or whatever, time to sit with people and explain it to them. They really, I mean, that's just what I'm telling you. It's a lot to ask people who don't do this every day to read something like this and really understand the implications. So I would support this. I would vote no on it, but I would support it if we changed it to 2 weeks. I think that's a good compromise.
Arturo?
Just a question for Janine. What changed between, I guess, Tuesday at executive meeting and today that requires this?
Nothing changed. We just were running out of time and I didn't push back on it because we had to leave the room. And I was like, wait a minute. I went back and looked at what we passed in May and I was like, we asked for 1 week in May. Now we're asking for a month. It just seems inconsistent. And then I did a little research on what's the typical standard in the corporate world. And I know personally, if I'm giving a presentation next month, I have not written it yet. So that's just my personal experience. I defer to all of you how often in advance you write your presentations. But it was really just trying to be reasonable because if we're going to have a hope of getting things across, the point is, and I do know that I saw part of CB1 last night and the presentation changed again. So they are constantly making changes and I'm okay with that as long as we have access to it. By the way, I still don't have a copy of the presentation they gave. So.
Carter?
Yeah, so actually we did ask for a week in advance and they said no. And the reason that they said no was because they wanted to be present to provide the presentation so they could give it context. They would not follow what we asked for in our last resolution, which was getting the materials a week in advance. And they gave the reason is that they had wanted to give a verbal presentation, not just the slides. So what was actually presented was in response to that. And I had brought that up at the meeting that this was in response to DOT. So this request is actually in line with the only manner in which they said they would present it to us was if they were able to give a verbal presentation. So they've made it clear they will not just provide slides, that they have to come and explain it. And so that's why I had asked that they come and give a preliminary presentation. There's no reason that something can't change. We don't need all the experts. It's not all the questions that happen at that time period. It's just the presentation. It's just to point out to Amy's point so people can understand it and see it. And if they're not going to provide those materials and have given a reasonable explanation is that they want to present it, then we should give them an opportunity to present it in a meaningful time period that we can then allow for the community to understand what's happening and respond to it.
I'm going to point out, if we only had 10 days because of that charter item, Mark, then what is this whole kind of, we only had a limited time. We only had a limited time, right? To be able to opine on this.
Under the charter provision, I'm sorry, yeah, the administrative code provision, those were business days, by the way. And it was, I think 5 or 10 business days, depending on what time of year it was. So since we're in the summer, it's 10 business days, which of course would not typically get us through a community board committee and full board vote time unless the full board happened to be the day after the committee. So
I'm mostly just trying to wrap my head around, if we're notified about it and that clock started, then how do we ask them for a week of the presentation? Like, I guess, like, what's the point of asking for the time? Does that make sense to anyone else? Like the idea, if we have this limited time of 10 business days, then how are we ever going to get a presentation from them a week ahead of time to have the meeting? I'm just trying to. Are we asking, are we spending our time twirling around on something that is like physically, time-wise, not possible?
Aren't they working on a plan beforehand that they not coming? I think the suggestion is they come a month ahead of time to show us where they're at with the plan, because there are certainly a number of questions that people can at least look at where the plan is at, get thoughts together, the community can do that, and then they officially notify and come back and present the plan, but people have seen something. Things will change, so they represent the plan with the changes, but if people had questions, that's why. It's not like they haven't worked on it until 5 days beforehand.
And if I could amplify and add, the imposition of this completely unrealistic time frame for a community board response argues much more in favor of having the presentation well in advance, or as long in advance as we can, because we're going to have so little time once the presentation is made. And the statute has this crazy provision that says what we have to do is give them comments or responses or ask for a presentation. And so one of the things that we can always do is ask for a presentation right after their presentation, which is a little bit silly, but and they've always said that they'll take our comment anyway. But your question was to this very short timeline. And in my way of thinking, the only way to interpret that statute with a less accommodating Department of Transportation than the one we have now is to make sure that we have the advance notice and ability to ask questions at the presentation so that you can make good use of your time there.
Thank you.
And
Thanks
just
for
as a
talking that through,
context,
Carter.
this is a very good missing point that I take for granted, right? Is that we've had partnerships as a board with many agencies over the years that they will work with us on the public presentations. They will work with us on the timelines when all this process starts rolling, because they want our input and they want quality input. But if you don't have the information, you can't make any input. So that, I think that this is more of a request to DOT to be a better partner with us when they know things are coming down the line, to give us a preliminary presentation on what they're thinking so that they can then, as we heard, even make adjustments if they're getting feedback along the way, even if we don't have a public hearing, it's just a presentation first. So
Amy and then Will. Will, did you have your hand up? Okay.
I'll make this quick. We know they told us that they consulted with Village Alliance Bid and Wegmans before they ever came to the community board, before they came to the Manhattan Borough President's office and presented it the week before they presented it to us. They have the ability to partner with people and give them a preview and get some feedback ahead of time without invoking the 10-day rule. That's what we're asking for. If we need to be more specific in that way, we can be in this amendment. Yeah, that's all I have to add.
Great. Cormac? Thank you, Donna.
Yeah, I just want to add, I didn't realize this issue was a problem in things until this matter came up. But I want to point out, since there was talk of slides before, I was at that Village Alliance bid presentation, and they did present us with copies of the slides at that time. Just FYI.
Will?
I mean, the idea of presentations being given to some members of the public and not others ahead of, in a random order or in an order that the DOT is choosing seems problematic to me. Like, shouldn't we be asking that when they're shared with the public, they are shared fully with the public, i.e. through the vehicle of community board, which is meant to represent the public.
Is there any further debate on this amendment? Are we any unwillingness to vote on this amendment? I don't want to stop debate, but I also want to move this along if we're ready to move along on the amendment. Okay. I mean, as far as I know, it's presented as is. Okay, the two, which are what? If you could get a microphone? Just so we can just be clear.
In the fourth line, after where it says share draft presentations, add publicly, delete with CB2, at least delete 1 week, and add 7 actual days. I used to work in bonds versus prior to a public meeting. So those are the two changes.
Which item are these changes in? Sorry, Janine.
Yeah.
This is for the third time. Let me hold up the resolution. Sorry, I don't have, no, the actual resolution. Sorry. You go to page 8 of the executive committee resolution. Where it says the first bolded, be it further resolved, item number 2, eliminate item number 2 and replace it with the clause here. Actually, beginning with the word, because it starts at the DOT precisely describe, and we'll just tweak it to make it, accurate. But that's the change.
Great. I'm getting right to that. So we are not seeing any unwillingness to vote. Did you have something?
What is the language though, that then it's
There is unwillingness to vote. Go ahead.
There is draft presentations publicly at least 7 days prior to a public meeting. Is that what the language is proposing that we are voting on? Okay.
Okay. So with that, all those in favor for this amendment with the changes that were just identified? I'm not even going to try to go through myself. I still can't, so I'm going to. So all those in favor? Opposed? Okay, so could you call those?
Carter, Shirley, Frederica, Chris, Cormac, could you remind me of your name? Thank you, David. Rocio, Amy, Donna, Will,
Hey, DJ, could I also be opposed?
thank you, Eugene.
Thank you.
That's a good reminder. Thank you, Jean and Chanel, for having your camera on. I'm not logged into Zoom, but if you are a board member attending on Zoom, you must have your camera turned on in order to vote and be a fully participating member. I'm going to continue. So we're
I
good with all
didn't hear, but
the.
I think I voted for the amendment, whatever was said.
Thank you. And then any abstentions? I'm abstaining because I can't make sense of where they go in the resolution. So I'm just a little confused. And then any recusals?
Oh, wait, Dr. Abstain.
If you could not call out until you're called on. So now we've got the amendment. So what do you need a few minutes to do the tabulations?
No, we have the final count. Are there any recusals?
Any recusals? Thank you. Thank you. Any recusals? Okay, I'm not seeing none. If you could give us the total. So
23 in favor, 11 opposed, 2 abstentions. The amendment passes.
thank you so much. So now we have the resolution as amended with the amendments. This is what's on this one page plus those changes that Janine so kindly went through for us 3 times. So with that, we now have the amended resolution on the floor. Is there continued debate that others that this body would like to continue? Anthony?
Just a comment. I'm one of the members who voted no yesterday. I'm okay with the Canal Street portion. It's just the Grand Street two-way bike lane that I'm not satisfied with, particularly the portion that involves Little Italy and Chinatown. The presentation wasn't to my satisfaction. That portion is going to be losing some parking on the south side. They were blasé about knowing that there was a city bike station in Chinatown, that they're going to move to the north side to displace more parking. So that's why I'm voting no. But this resolution, I think, should have been like 2 separate resolutions, so I could vote in favor of the Canal Street portion. But
Did we ask them to do that? Okay. Any other? Amy? Then I see Janine.
Hi. I'm sorry to my fellow TNT members that I couldn't come on Tuesday night. My grandchildren were visiting from California, so they took precedent. Could you help me understand? I know that when at the community feedback meeting with community boards 1, 2, and 3, the community came very strongly and had, I thought, some good arguments about why they did not support a 2-way bike lane on Canal Street. And of course, we supported a 2-way bike lane on Grand Street. Sorry, people live on Grand Street. They made a very compelling case about that. And we wanted to support the 2-way bike lane on a canal. But with resolution is, you say that we wanted the 2-way bike lane on Canal Street, and we still want them to consider that, but we've approved the Grand Street one. And I'm wondering, since the community came out very strongly against it, made really reasonable claims for why they didn't want it, could somebody explain to me why the committee voted for the 2-way bike lane on Grand Street?
Are you saying from the executive committee?
Yeah, the executive committee
Sure.
Tuesday night.
I will say that I voted in favor, not as an endorsement of the resolution, but because I wanted it to be debated before this body. And if it hadn't been voted on to go through exec, then it wouldn't have made it through. So I actually specifically did say that when I voted on Tuesday.
Thank you. I'm asking why why the resolution does not say we'll go along with all this other stuff, but we don't go along with the 2-way bike lane on Grand Street, considering we heard such strong, good feedback from the community.
Sorry, I forget that you're not.
Is it on now?
Go ahead, Shirley, and then Janet.
Okay, so the resolution and resolves have 2 parts. One is Canal Street, the other is Grand Street. I've given this a lot of thought, and I think I really hadn't commented enough before, but I really realized that these are really, aside from the fact that they're talking about the 2-way Grand Street bike lane, giving access in continuation for Canal Street. Otherwise, Grand Street is really a separate issue. And this proposal for Grand Street was really kind of rushed by DOT for us to review, which we did accommodate in the executive committee. And the more I think about it, the more I really feel that these should be two separate resolutions because they're addressing two separate streets with different issues. I mean, one of the issues that came up at the executive committee meeting by residents, by several residents, was that they feel they could use a little more walking space, in other words, a wider sidewalk, rather than a two-way bike lane. And the more I've thought about it, I just feel that the whole Grand Street issue has not been discussed or investigated enough. It did not come before the T&T committee, essentially, which usually discusses and takes input from the public. So I guess I'm suggesting that we do the Canal Street resolution and we ask for a more in-depth study and responses to whatever we may want to put forth for the Grand Street.
I will just respond with the timeline that was given was that this work is going to start fall 2026. So I'm not trying to defend that or by any means over explain it, but that I'm just giving that's what we were told. Janet?
I just want to point out that they did present it to us last winter. It's been discussed, the crosstown bike lane on Grand Street. So it was not a new element. And they do have a portion of Canal Street. They do have a two-way bike lane on a piece of it. But the understanding is, you know, on the west side of Canal Street, there's not that much pedestrian traffic, but there's more vehicular traffic. But on the east side, there's a, you know, so we didn't need to expand the sidewalks, but moving east, like the priority is really to expand those sidewalks. So then you lose the space. There's just not space to do the two-way protected bike lane all the way across. And admittedly, the Grand Street isn't perfect, but it has the same dimensions as Christie going north-south. And as someone who comes off the Manhattan Bridge a lot, I mean, I live in the Village, so I don't need to go east, but if you want to come into Soho, there's no route into Soho. You can go on Broome Street over cobblestones, but there's not an east-west connector from the Manhattan Bridge all the way east. I don't know if I answered your question, but it has been on the table. And I guess I voted for it because I felt there was a sufficient reasoning for having it.
Amy?
Thanks. Yeah, I remember that discussion about Grand Street pretty clearly. And I also remember, and Anthony, please correct me if I'm wrong, the community said we don't need wider sidewalks. We just need to get rid of the illegal vendors, right? So I'm really, that's what I heard loud and clear. Would you agree with that? Yes. So
If we could just wait to
All
speak.
right. So my feeling is that, and again, I wasn't there, so I'm recognizing that I wasn't there to make these points. I would have said that we don't need the wider sidewalks. We need the two-way bike lane on Canal Street. And Grand Street made a very compelling argument about why it's too narrow to have a two-way bike lane on Grand Street. Someone pointed out in our internal emails earlier today in TNT, that these bike lanes are really narrow. They're 9 feet. This is going to be unsafe for the cyclists as well as the pedestrians. And so I think I'm going to vote no on this, even though I recognize all the hard work. And Janine, thank you for everything you did to get this done so quickly. But I don't think I can vote for the two-way bike lane on Grand Street when we could have made a recommendation for how to get the two-way bike lane on Canal. But
Nina?
My hand is raised.
Amy,
Okay.
do you bike?
Just a second. Nina?
Yeah. Amy, do you bike?
If we could not have the back and forth, like if this is not like an inquisition.
Okay. Thank you.
first of all, I own a bike, but second of all, I don't think you
if-
should have asked that question. It doesn't matter whether I ride a bike or not.
If we could keep this civil, and again, this is not, we're not, in a courtroom, continue.
So,
Did you have additional comments, Nina?
Yeah, so I took that question back. Apologies. I do think I bike on Christie, and I know it's a two-way bike lane. I think it's totally fine. It's not too narrow.
Is there additional comments from board members, debate?
May I speak?
Oh, yes, thank you, Chenault, and I see Eugene. If someone could help me with who has question, I'm not logged into Zoom.
Is it in order for a motion to split the resolution into the bike and the traffic sections? And if so, I'll make that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion made by Chenault to split the resolution into two. Is that going to be, it would need a second?
I'll second it, and I texted you, but you probably didn't see it. I am
Yeah,
happy
we
to.
probably didn't.
I'm happy to do the work to split it into two. You are going to have to trust me that I will adequately put stuff in each part that goes in each part. I don't think I can do it on the fly at this meeting.
I would
So
suggest that we dispense with the fine points of the having to read it that way, and that Janine is perfectly competent to split it properly.
So we have this proposal, this motion, excuse me, on the floor to split this into two. I'm going to step down from chairing this because I would like to make a comment during this debate on this. So I'm going to turn this over to Donna so that I can make a comment on this. So you're now chairing this portion of the meeting. As someone who could not follow the amended changes, I can't follow personally, and that's just my own thing, the splitting of it into two. I think I'm just saying for my personal, I will not be voting for this amendment or motion. So you can now turn it back to me to finish, Chair. Thanks.
Turning it back.
I'm just trying to do this as, Robert's rules. I don't have my textbooks here with me, but, I'm going to read them again this weekend because I'm sure I'll get some comments. David.
Just a clarifying question. If this was two amendments, is the Grand Street
So you mean
resolution?
two resolutions, yeah?
No, I get that, but following the back and forth debate, would the resolution on the Grand Street bike lane be to support or oppose it?
I don't know. So that's why I stepped down from chairing this meeting to say this was confusing to me to split as a voting board member. And that's why I can't answer that question. I don't know.
Because as
My
I
intention in
followed this discussion, it sounds like people don't like the Grand Street one, but as written, it supports it. So is it just extricating that, but it's still in support of it, or it's opposing it?
My motion is agnostic about the outcome. It simply gives the opportunity to vote separately on the two aspects of the resolution.
Want me to call on you? But DJ?
When you make the motion to split the resolution, do you have to specify what you are actually like motioning to?
The motion that he made was for that there's one resolution with Grand Street and that there's one, right, Chanel? And then there's one resolution that's about the Canal Street portion.
Set the motion into two separate motions, if that makes my motion clearer.
No, it's just to split it into two. It's one motion to split it into two. Yeah. Well. Yeah, we're discussing it.
Yeah, I think I echo Valerie's comments. There was a lot of work done in a very short period of time to put this together. We were just talking about having adequate notice before voting on things, and like putting a brand new resolution together where we're not even sure if it's going to be for or against one of them on the fly tonight with, in less than an hour. That flies against what we were just saying about needing to read and consider things before we vote on them. So for me, I personally don't think we have time to split it, and I think we should just vote based on our read of the current resolution. That's my view.
Janine? Again, I'm just going to point out that it's 8:42 and we're still on our first
Okay,
report. I'm not trying to stifle debate, but I'm just pointing out
if
we do have a hard stop.
DJ might have to put this on the screen, but I did go through the resolution. Starting on page, sorry, I need a table. Page 5, 2I would go into, I have a blue highlighter pen if anyone wants it. 2I would go into Grand Street. 3D as in dog would go into Grand Street. And the be it further resolved about the bike lane at second from the bottom on page 7 would go into Grand Street. The revised language about notice time that we already discussed would go in both resolutions, and the equity language would go in both resolutions. And I just want to, what? What?
Did you share the document with me?
No, this is, I'm just highlighting it so you could pull the package up and highlight the text. That's all. But you'd have to, yeah, that's starting there. And just to clarify, there was, I just want to correct, there was zero discussion about widening the sidewalks because this is only the presentation from Broadway West, and the city's plan from last December was to widen the sidewalks from Broadway East. So that was not on the table in this resolution or at the discussion last night, and that was clearly noted in the agenda as well.
What Janine read,
I'm sorry, I didn't see you had your hand raised. So if you, I also know Eugene had his hand up for a long time and it was not been called on. Do you still want to speak, Eugene? I apologize. Like someone's got to help me out here. I know we went to the motion.
Thank you, Valerie. I did also want to, raise this, as a Soho resident, and I've heard from other Soho residents at our exec meeting as well. I think the issue of the 2 lanes on Grant Street, it's problematic because it's a very narrow street in many places. But I also wanted to bring up the issue of the taking out the left turns into Soho on West Broadway and also Green, and then forcing the traffic to go all the way to Center Street would really be a disservice to people that live in the neighborhood. It is simply, I think the data that was presented at the meeting that it was only going to add a minute to the commutes sounded very, I don't know where they got those numbers. And it didn't seem that in my experience, it would add a minute to the commute. And in fact, left turns seem to clear very quickly. I make that left turn pretty often to get back to get back home, and it rarely backs up more than one traffic light. So I just wanted to bring that up as a kind of a Soho resident that, to see another point that I had a disagreement with on the resolution. Thank you, Valerie.
All right, so we still have this motion on the floor to split this. So is there any further debate on the splitting? Otherwise, we'll take a vote on that motion. Then we still have to vote on the resolution or resolutions. I don't know where this is going to go. I'm not going to presume that I know. So I see no unwillingness to vote on this motion that's been presented to split the resolution into 2 resolutions, one on Grand and one on Canal Street. So all those in favor? Opposed?
Valerie, Donna, Dr. Shirley, Frederica, Carter. What was her name? Kate, thank you. Will, Amy, Cormac, Nina. I got you already. Eddie, Suzanne, thank you. Rocio. Okay. That's all. We got everyone.
And so and you got Eugene or Chanel? Oh, I haven't done the rest of it.
Anybody online voting no?
Okay. Any abstentions?
That I posed, if that's the question.
Are you on, we're on the motion to split into two resolutions. I asked for the in favor votes,
And I raised my.
opposed.
So
How are you
you
voting, Chanel?
favor of the motion that I
Okay.
posed to split the
thanks.
resolution, the two resolutions.
I've just had a long day, so I'm not going to presume I know anyone's vote. Any abstentions? Any recusals?
Okay, we have 23 votes in favor, 13 opposed, 0 abstentions, 0 recusals. So the motion to split the resolution passes.
Interesting, 23 and 23, like on the last one. Okay, so now we have two motions. So now we'll need to take them each separately into, I guess, whatever nebulous things that they are. I don't know exactly what we're voting on each one. So I guess we will take Canal Street as a separate item to be voted on. So in any further debate on just on Canal Street is what we're voting on. And I guess you can somehow ascertain what that is from the resolution, I guess, Arturo. So now we'll be debating just Canal Street. Otherwise, we'll move to a vote on Canal Street. So do you have a question, comment, statement, Arturo? We're not, to there, I'll call the vote. I'm just seeing if there's any further debate just on Canal Street or the idea of what voting on Canal Street is. Susan, if we could get a microphone to Susan, then a microphone to Katie, we can move this along. We are getting close to that 9 o'clock hour and it's gonna start to get really tight.
Thank you. I just want to say that I completely agree with Eugene and that I think that the inclusion of additional language about Green Street and West Broadway, the left-hand turns, is essential.
So that would require a separate amendment. And I don't know if that's something that would go to the canal resolution or what is it?
It's the canal.
It's the canal. Okay. So someone would need to make an motion to add something in as an amendment. Just saying something is a nice to have. We can't, we need something physical. So if you'd like to propose amendment, and I say that to anyone, this is the time to do it. Janet?
The other mic? Please look around.
There are 3 mics up here.
I just want to speak in support of those restricted left turns.
Is this about Canal Street specifically?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
just making sure, just so everyone knows.
14th Street, there are no left turns all the way from 3rd Avenue, I think it's 2nd Avenue, 9th Avenue. It functions. The DOT showed us you don't have to go to Center Street. Certainly if you're coming from north, you can just go east before you hit Canal. If you're coming from the south, you can make certain decisions. I mean, you can still go north on West Broadway and you can still go north on Grand. You simply can't access them from Canal. And then a few things on left turns. Try to say this as quickly as possible. They're very inefficient. UPS actually restricts left turns. 90% of their deliveries are made without left turns because it saves fuel. Somebody did a study on it and they said for those willing to consider an extra couple of minutes, eliminating all turns on upcoming road trips could actually be the wisest decision you make behind the wheel. And then the other thing about left turns is that you are 3 times more likely than right turns to cause a deadly crash involving a pedestrian. So I think the trade-off is a fair trade-off. And so anyway, that's my comment on left turns. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Is there any further, Shirley?
Okay, just following up from what Janet said, actually, for years, both our DOT, the United States Department of Transportation, DOT, our own NYPD, and many, many lawyers for liability have all opposed left-hand turns because of the severe danger. And these studies have been done, many statistics, which indicate that left turns are very, very dangerous. In fact, there are a lot of people who would like to eliminate them altogether. I just wanted to add that in.
Susan, again, we're still on the Canal Street, then we'll move to the Grand Street. I'm getting Grand and Green mixed up. Just
I have two amendments I can propose.
okay. So we have okay.
Sorry, okay. Option. Do you want me to read this now?
That's how we get it on the floor, and then we can move this along and vote on the next one, and then move on to the rest of the business.
Be it further, should I read this?
Mm-hmm.
Be it further resolved that any proposed left turn restrictions associated with the Canal Street redesign should be, where feasible, be limited to the hours during which congestion and safety concerns are most acute, allowing left turns during off-peak periods when they can be accommodated safely without adversely affecting bus operations, pedestrian safety, or bicycle movements. We have another option is be it further resolved that CB2 supports data-driven time of day turn restrictions that balance safety, bus reliability, freight access, and local access for residents and businesses, and requests that NYC DOT monitor operations after implementation and adjust restriction hours as warranted. Essentially, there's no reason for a 24-hour restriction. There may be certain hours during the day where it causes a problem. To restrict 24 hours just negatively impacts access to the neighborhood.
Okay, so now we have an amendment on the floor. Is there a second for this amendment? I have a second from Carter Booth. Is there any further debate on this? While I wait for people to raise hands and we get microphones to them, I will point out that we do have a hard stop here at 10 o'clock and that we will have to have a second meeting if we don't get through all of our business. Carter, then Arturo.
I did propose two.
I'm sorry. You have, well, we just have this one on the floor. Is there, if no one has a problem with Susan adding to this first amendment so we can move this along, then we'll entertain that. If we can get another microphone to Susan, then we can get this and take them as a, oh, you have a microphone. Wait, are you adding the second one?
I can read it again.
No, we don't need to read the whole thing in. I just need to know, are you adding something?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate, first of all, we spent a substantial amount of time at the meeting talking about this and had a lot of residents from Soho discuss this, and it's not reflected in the resolution or the minutes. I had brought up at that meeting, and I had gone back to look, if you are on West Street coming south, which many people come back that way, you've only a couple ways to get into Community Board 2. You can come in at 14th Street, you can come in at Clarkson, or you can come in at Canal. If you come in at Canal and you restrict these northbound turns in the manner that they are, you have to go all the way to Center Street. And the idea that you can somehow go around if you come from the Holland Tunnel, you can easily go around to get to Soho. But if you come from West Street, you actually have to go way south into Community Board 1 by virtue of the way the roads run. And you have to go through all the congestion that people are trying to generally avoid. So I think that the time restriction that Susan had brought up is a really good way around that. And you find that throughout the city in congested areas where they restrict turns and then allow them during non-congested times. And I think it's a really good compromise through the two issues to resolve this, because I think that we do need to try to improve Canal Street as best as we can. But Canal Street it has a life through so many different time periods of the day, and it's only during the congested times that the left-hand turning present the problems. And they do have dedicated turn lanes on turn lights on West Broadway. So the safety aspect is significantly diminished because there is a red light coming from the other way on Canal Street.
Thank you.
And I also just want to thank, most people don't realize this wouldn't have even come to the floor here had Valerie not voted in the manner in which she had it executive, and that's because she wanted us to debate it here. So as tired as everybody's getting, it wouldn't have even carried and we wouldn't even have any input. So I just wanted to thank her for
That
that.
is really dramatic, but thank you. Not necessary. Arturo, and then I've been sitting at a desk all day, so I'm gonna stand.
Just to clarify with Susan, it's the first one, right? For the first proposal?
There's just one amendment on the floor.
Okay. All right, that's it.
If you could, yeah, I can't see text or emails. I'm really trying to be present. I just have the agenda up on here. So if you're emailing any sort of text or corrections, if you can email it to DJ or Donna. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, so is there any more debate on the amendment that Susan so kindly provided to us on the fly? Thank you, Susan. Is there any unwillingness to vote on this amendment? All those in favor of the amendment that Susan Wittenberg proposed? Opposed?
Eddie, Janet,
Any abstentions on the amendment that Susan Wittenberg proposed?
Frederica,
David.
David,
Any recusals? Are you gaining anything financially from this? Okay, just as a reminder what a recusal is, I'm not trying to call anyone out. Okay, so now we have, if I can get this straight, the Canal Street as amended with the amendment. We now have the amended Canal Street resolution in whatever nebulous form that may be, as we don't have it physically, but that's okay. We have it existentially. So is there any further debate on Canal Street? Voting on that separately. Is there any unwillingness to vote? Seeing none, all those in favor?
I,
Opposed?
Amy,
I'm abstaining because I don't understand what I'm voting on. And any,
we're moving to abstentions now because I think other people.
are we still on no votes? Are there people that have not, want to vote against the Canal Street resolution as amended that have not had their vote? You've not heard your name by DJ.
The only no vote we have is Amy.
Okay.
Wait,
And
no,
abstentions, I said I'm abstaining.
David, Frederica, Susan, Mauricio.
Any recusals?
Great. Then with 30 in favor, 1 opposed, and 5 abstentions, the resolution passes.
Thank you. Now we have Grand Street. And do we have any debate on Grand Street? Okay, I see Chenault.
I would just like to say that if any two people here have their pulse on the traffic in that area, it certainly is the treasurer and Eugene, and they've both strongly endorsed this. Certainly they know more than the person who goes the odd times to eat in Chinatown. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to step down from chairing this so I can say a comment before I go move to a vote. So I'm turning this meeting over to Donna to chair it. I'm going to be voting against this resolution, this separate resolution, because I saw what happened with the Lafayette Street resolution that we so longly and thoughtfully debated, that before the resolution was even sent to DOT, less than 24 hours after our long meeting where we really extended our time here, possibly not being a great partner with our wonderful NYU, and putting that in jeopardy, and all of that long debate and work that went on that resolution, that less than 24 hours after that meeting, before receiving our resolution with all of our thoughtful changes, that the project went forward without any acknowledgement of what was in our resolution. And that also did not give our elected officials cover to advocate for what we were looking to have modified in there. So that's why I will be voting against this resolution. I'm gonna turn it back over
I'm going to
to
turn
you.
it
Thank
back
you.
over to
Great.
Valerie.
Is there any further debate on this resolution? Is there any unwillingness to vote?
I'm sorry, I restrained
Oh,
myself.
sure. Chanel, what?
I restrained myself from saying that I felt the chair was pejorative in the business about, I don't understand what's in this, but we'll vote on it anyway. And then making a speech, although that was technically turned over, it did come from the chair. And I don't find it out of order. I just object to it.
That's fine.
And I just want to.
Feel free to file a complaint with the borough president's office.
Okay. I do want to just clarify that we did get that email that we're moving forward with the project less than 24 hours after our board meeting, which was sort of disappointing. But I do know that the elected officials met with the transportation commissioner, DOT transportation commissioner, regardless of our resolution. So they did have the cover to have that meeting, and there was potential talk of a rally. It didn't happen because it was summer and there weren't enough people to attend. But I don't think our resolution, anyways, you can debate that, but there was a meeting with the DOT commissioner by the elected officials. Obviously, I was not at that meeting, but I just want to set the record straight. Thank you.
Will?
Just really quick. I meant to say earlier, but I just wanted to thank Janine for putting in the resiliency language. And I want to make sure they're in both resolutions. I think we agree on that. And then I just wanted to clarify that what we're voting on is in favor of the two-way bike lane. Yes, because that was what was in the therefore be it resolved. Yes.
You would need to read
That
what's
is
in the resolution as into what part of the resolution that is. I'm not here to validate your understanding of that.
Subject to the proposed, supports proposed two-way bicycle lane, subject to addition of DOT's full toolkit, et cetera. That's what I see in there. I just want to make sure that's where I'm putting.
Carter.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about something that Shirley had brought up at the exec meeting and then a little bit early tonight. I mean, this time frame of, they're starting this work is really hard to understand, because they said that the Lafayette bike lane was being done for the World Cup. The World Cup's done and the bike lane is still not in place. And so I think that the idea is we're trying to get this right with good input. And I think that asking for them to come back and discuss it some more is not outrageous. I mean, this is what we want to get the input. We want to get it right. Shirley had brought up some ideas that were quickly talked about at the meeting with respect to the sidewalks, but I think there's a lot more in play. We only have a limited amount of space. We want to try and get it right. The bike lanes are pretty narrow there. Are there any other ideas to make this project a little bit better? What are some of the more micro concerns on the different blocks? We also have outdoor dining that are on there, but these are all areas that people want to give input on. And we just rush this along over a perceived time frame that is presented to us by DOT. It's a little bit disingenuous. They know when they're repaving roads. They know when they're doing all this work well in advance. It is not hard to just come and have this dialogue. And I think that asking for a little bit extra time, as Shirley had suggested, to come and bring this up to us in a full meeting is not outrageous. I think it's perfectly in line in doing it. And I think that just what we're discussing now really is in line with that, because we don't even really have fuller, broader details with a proper meeting where this has been fully discussed and vetted with the information ahead of time. I think that we should vote against it and ask them to come back and just give us another presentation so that we can give better input on this project. And I think that, you know, the delay, I think the benefit is better than a small delay on this to get this right. Having crosstown bike lanes has been an issue in our community board since the inception of bike lanes. This discussion's been going on forever when you can go east and west. In fact, I think DOT responded to Janine. They said, well, why don't you just ride over to the Hudson River and go down that way if you're going someplace, instead of just really addressing the micro mobility or the micro connections in our community for bikes. Most of us go even locally on bikes, and that's what we want to look at too. It just doesn't have to be one big broad, you know, two-way bike lane that's 4 feet wide. We should be just looking at this, I think, a little bit broader. And I think that having another meeting allows that conversation to happen. So the suggestion is to have them come back.
Thanks. It's a long day, earnings season. Surely. Yeah, it is. I know. Donna did a great,
Okay,
done a
oh,
great
yeah,
job.
okay. And I agree with Carter. But I would also add that we should be asking for further study for alternatives to the bike lane approach. Obviously, that east-west bike lane is needed. Right now, we have it only one way on Grand Street. Well, Grand Street's kind of narrow. I won't go into that detail, but just simply to say that I think we should be asking DOT to study it on a broader level for alternatives on other streets, which are possibly one way. It would still give two-way if you got one way, and whatever. Okay.
Chenault.
Before
We'll go
we,
to Katie, Janet, Arturo.
before we vote, I would just like to ask for a clear statement of what a yes vote means for this resolution and what a no vote means, because it's a backwards
As
from
some,
intuitive.
I'm going to step down. Well, I don't know if I was going to say it I cannot provide that, as my vote on the last one said I was not clear on what we were voting on. So I cannot speak to what a yes is here, what a no is here, because I don't know I don't know what we're voting on in the resolution, the words. So I'll let Janine address that if she'd be so
But-
kind to do so. Maybe we get a microphone to Janine. Well, I think we want to get that clarification out now, because maybe people will put their hands down because their question will be answered.
Okay.
Not trying to stifle
Okay.
debate, but also it is 9:10 and we just want to
Okay.
move this along.
Page 5 of the executive committee, 2i. DOT ignored CB2's recommendation for two-way bike lane, needs an A, on Canal along the entire length of Canal, and instead converted the eastbound bike lane on Grand Street to a two-way parking protected bike lane on Grand from Varick Street to Forsyth. Then we go to 3D. We want DOT to use its full toolkit to enhance pedestrian safety along two-way bike lanes, including but not limited to rumble strips, signage, and narrowing of bike lanes at intersections. And sorry, I'm just going to go to desktop. Then you turn the page. There is, we'll add in the resiliency into both of these, because frankly, the city, it needs to focus on that. And then in the therefore be it resolves, sorry, I gave my last copy. On page 7, be it further resolved, second from the bottom, that CB2 supports. So if you're voting yes, you would support the proposed two-way bike lane, subject to the addition of DOT's full toolkit, ... And then you turn the page. We would add the amended language under about the 7 days. and add the equity language will go in both resolutions, which is the last, therefore be it resolved. And those would go in both. Okay.
Great. So now that we have that information, Katie, Janet, Arturo, if you still have your hands up, we'll go to Katie, then Janet, and then Arturo, so we could get microphones aligned.
Did I hear?
It is 9:12.
Did I hear that we wanted some amendments to this? No, someone else, Shirley, what did we hear someone saying wanted?
There is no amendment on the floor.
Okay, I just want to be clear.
Carter, did you have something to answer to Katie's question so we can move this along?
The suggestion that I guess I was making is that if this motion did not carry, that the substitute would be to ask them to come back to us to present it separately. Or excuse me, a replacement.
We can't hear you.
Substitute. Sure.
Janet?
Just quickly, in deference to DOT, this has been on their plans for the 5 years of work on this. That's always been like, I mean, there's a lot to take in, but if you go back to all the PDFs that have been supplied to us, it has been there. And also just because it came up, and also in deference to DOT, if you actually look at Lafayette vis-a-vis our resolution, they incorporated a lot of our recommendations in the final design. And that's why we voted in favor of it. They really, I mean, it's maybe too bad we have to ask, but we asked and they did listen. Thank you.
Arturo?
Yeah, I kind of am starting to understand the nuance of this, and I just want to say I support either two-way bike lane options, and so I'm kind of stuck here because I agree kind of with Carter, who's made the point that this is something that really needs to be more robust. That I don't think we should be putting ourselves against a timeline here, and so if that's the case, I would either feel like I would vote no, or I would hope somebody could move to table this until next month.
Is there any further debate on this Grand Street resolution? Is there any unwillingness to vote on the Grand Street resolution? All those in favor? Grand Street. The Grand Street, we voted on Canal Street, now we're voting on Grand Street. All those opposed?
Valerie, Donna, Anthony. Shirley, was your hand up? Shirley, Susan, Frederica, Anita, thank you. Eileen, Carter, Katie, Arturo, Cormac, David, Amy, Lucio, Lois, Dr. Shirley, Eugene, Chenault, myself,
Thank
I'm
you.
voting no. Did I miss any no votes?
Maybe you read out the no's.
Yes, I have Valerie, Donna, Anthony, Shirley Secunda, Susan Kent, Frederica, Anita, Eileen, Carter, Katie, Arturo, Cormac, David Sandman, Amy, Rocio, Lois, Dr. Shirley Smith, Eugene, Chenault, and DJ.
Any abstentions?
Abstentions. Thank you. Thank you.
Any recusals?
Okay, we have 14 votes in favor, 20 opposed, 2 abstentions, 0 recusals. So the resolution does not pass.
Thank you very much. So now we will, okay,
Put a motion on the floor for
I don't
a
know.
resolution to have them come back. Replace this resolution with the resolution requesting them to return to present Grand Street. I don't have that written.
Okay, and then, so we have a motion on the floor to have some sort of, to have a resolution. I'm not going to give color to it. To have a
Simply ask them to come
resolution to come back, but because because this was voted down and we put the vote for what the vote was,
Yes.
is that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. A second from Lois. Any debate on this proposed resolution? Any unwillingness to vote on this proposed resolution? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Wait.
Oh, opposed?
Janet?
We're voting on a resolution to ask them to come back with the vote that also includes the vote of the reason we're asking them to come back is that it was voted the way down.
So for no's, we have Janet, Eddie,
Abstentions? Recusals?
okay, with 34 votes in favor, 2 opposed, 0 abstentions, and 0 recusals, the motion passes.
Great. Now we will go on to our second committee report for the evening. Donna.
Okay, SLA 1 met on July 7th. We had 20 applications and 14 resolutions. All votes were unanimous. Chipotle Mexican Grill of Colorado LLC, doing business as Chipotle Mexican Grill, number 2168 at 504 6th Avenue. This is a wine, beer, and cider for a restaurant, deny unless with stipulations. Chipotle Mexican Grill of Colorado LLC, doing business as Chipotle Mexican Grill, number 1597 at 71 Spring Street. Wine, beer, cider for a restaurant, deny unless with stipulations. Boat Curious Soho LLC at 171 Spring Street. This is alteration to add the dining out MIC roadway, deny unless with stipulations. Bao Noodle House Inc., doing business as Bao Noodle. This is at 110 Bowery. I have to update the resolution to put in that address. Wine, beer, and cider, previously unlicensed location, deny unless with stipulations. Doa Corp. at 645 Broadway, 10012. Beer Tavern, it's a transfer application, deny unless with stipulations. New York Shakespeare Festival LLC and Joe's Pub LLC as manager at 425 Lafayette Street. On premise for restaurant, it's an alteration, deny unless with stipulations. Something Smells Fishy LLC, 95A Elizabeth Street, wine, beer, and cider for restaurant in a previously unlicensed location, deny unless with stipulations. Frame 4 Inc., doing business as Frame Cafe at 51 Kenmare. It's a wine, beer, and cider for a cafe, deny unless with stipulations. Gastronaut LLC, 72 McDougal Street, on premise for restaurant. It's a transfer, deny unless with stipulations. Number 10, 171 LLC, 171 Mott Street, on premise for a restaurant. That's deny unless with stipulations. Ambleside Partners LLC, doing business as Gospel, 281 Lafayette Street. It's a change in method of operation and alteration. That was deny. Number 12, Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen Center, doing business as the Sheen Center for Thought and Culture. It's a corporate change, deny unless the appearance was waived. At 13, Chicken Sushi LLC, doing business as Sakai Omakase at 96 West Houston. It's a corporate change, appearance waived, deny unless. Number 14, Urena Restaurant Corp., doing business as Arte Restaurant, 21 East 9th Street, alteration to add sidewalk seating, appearance waived, deny unless with steps. Items 15 to 20 are layovers or withdrawals. Any questions?
Any questions? Dr. Smith? And then Katie?
Not wanting to, can you hear me? Not wanting to call out anything, just making a correction for the person who actually was present. Jeffrey Garcia is actually the executive director for nightlife, not a member, but the mayor's office, and he is the director of nightlife. So that's the correction I'm making.
What page is that on?
That's on the first
It's under
page.
the people who were, it was
It's
the
on the
people who were
first
present.
page, yeah. So you're telling me to delete the word member?
Do we usually have a category for a
don't.
specific mayor's office or
No, we
agency on
don't
our attendance? So
usually
is there a
have
reason
that,
why that
because it
we're
was
calling,
requested.
are we going to call out every, I'm just kind of asking Donna this question.
I don't, the person was not signed in and we do not usually.
I guess like, why are we calling, like, I'm just asked, why are we having, like,
Are
when
you
we have,
asking me why I'm?
no, I'm just asking Donna, because I don't think we don't, I'm just
We
asking,
don't
do we
normally do
usually,
that,
and I
yeah.
guess,
Request
why are
was made,
we?
And I put it in there. That's the only reason. Don't normally do that, and I didn't have time. This was the 5th iteration of this. So he appeared at the end of the meeting. He was there. He
Did he
introduced
s-
himself. He did not
Okay.
speak. He did not sign it.
Okay,
So he's not even signed in on our information. Just,
okay.
Does that satisfy your answer?
I don't think I need to say whether or not
Yeah,
it satisfies my answer,
Yeah,
but thank you
but
for asking.
But I think that what we need to do is when you hear I think that everything should be correct when you listen to I did not know he did not sign in. I don't.
he didn't sign in. He didn't speak. He came up at the end of the meeting and introduced himself. We have people often coming up at the end of the meeting introducing themselves. They're never put in here. They're never put in here.
I just think that it should reflect the people who are not there.
So I think this is a broader conversation, but is your request that every person who is in the room that is signed in now gets added at the top? Every lawyer, every applicant, every member of the public? I'm just trying to understand what the request is here.
I'm not asking that, Donna. I'm just bringing it up because.
May I
thought
ask that we move on?
By virtue. Somebody, I'm
I'm going to make well, I can't, I'm chairing this, so continue.
I'm cut off often.
No, I didn't
That's
mean
okay.
to. I'm trying not to,
Obviously, my comments are devalued. Thank you.
no, I didn't want to start speaking out of turn as person chairing the meeting, and I was going to turn it over, but for time, I'm going to edit myself and not do that. Chenault, did you have a comment?
Just that I'd like, we have important resolutions for the committee. These details.
We all do, Chenault. We all do the work and we all have important resolutions, as was the first one that we've spent an hour and a half or 2 hours on, so.
I would
Like,
just,
can we just keep going?
yeah, we can address this in exec, but I would just say that it is at the committee chair's discretion as to what is put at the top of their committee resolutions. I don't think that's unreasonable. So next, is there Katie? And again, we have a few other committees and it's 9:25. So if we do not complete our business, we will have to be out of here at 10. And we'll have to have a second meeting or we'll not have positions on the resolutions and the hard work of the rest of our committees, including this one.
I apologize for not having attended SLA 1 and for just noting the Arte resolution. I am going to vote no.
So are you calling this one out? Because I'd like to just vote on what
If that's
we're.
what you want me to
Okay, so
do?
you're gonna call that out. So can we vote on the rest if we're not gonna call any out, just so we can move this along? Is anyone, if I have any, so let me just get, so we're voting on, items 1 through 4. What number are we calling out?
14.
We're calling
Okay,
out
so
number 14.
we're gonna vote on item 1 through 13. And then, 15 through 20 are layovers and withdrawals. So all those in favor for number 1 through 13, because number 14 is, okay. So 1 through 13 and then 15 through 20, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Now we'll go to number 14.
I apologize for not having noticed this and come to the meeting. This Arte is a terrible scofflaw as far as I'm concerned. Mark and I have worked for over a year to get them to remove planters from the bus stop, planters which prevent people in wheelchairs from accessing the bus. And also, I have filed numerous 311 complaints about the dining tables set up in the amenity or the sidewalk zone and in front of the neighboring buildings. These people are not conforming to the law as it is. And I'm going to vote against
You
it.
can vote against it. Just let me say the way we've been handling these. The way we've been handling these is we get a diagram that DOT has approved. DOT has approved the diagram, and the diagram seems to conform to the rules. We have objected to some that are not ADA accessible on the SLA committee. I'm just speaking for the SLA committee. Then basically we are approving them, especially if they agree to the 10 o'clock when there was no, initially it was at 10 o'clock. Now we're kind of past the initial, so whatever, that's what they did here. And so that is why. That's how I've been handling all of those. And that is why. And quite frankly, I understand what you're saying, but I have not received, to my knowledge, the community board has not. I'm not saying there haven't been complaints made. I'm just saying but even if the liquor authority does not enforce the seating arrangements of DOT. If they give a diagram and they don't conform to the diagram, they're supposed to be conforming to the diagram. Once they've got their liquor license and they're serving outside and they're all over the place, then you can make a complaint to the liquor authority. But the liquor authority judges the application going before them, and the diagram is what it is.
All right.
I'm not asking you to change your vote. I'm just saying that's how we've been handling those applications.
Explain to the liquor authority.
Is there any unwillingness to vote on SLA 1 number 14? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? And Chenault.
Katie,
Eugene.
Chenault, and Eugene.
Abstentions, recusals. We'll move on to SLA 2.
Okay, SLA 2 met on Wednesday, July 8th. Most of the decisions were unanimous. If they weren't, I will let you know. The Strangers Club, New York, doing business as Dear Strangers, 147 West 4th Street. This was an alteration to add roadway seating, deny unless with stipulations. The Strangers Club, New York, doing business as Dear Strangers. This was an alteration to add the rear yard. That was a denial. Ms. Non, Carmine Street LLC, doing business as Ms. Non, 38 Carmine Street, also known as 3840 Carmine Street, wine, beer, and cider for a restaurant, deny unless with stipulations. RDM 14th Street LLC, doing business as the Guest House, New York City, 423 West 13th Street, also known as 421 West 13th Street, on premise for a restaurant, deny unless with stipulations. D6 Hospitality, Inc., 61 Grove Street, doing business as Grove Next Door, Store East, on premise for a tavern, deny unless with stipulations. Par Avion LLC, doing business as Nightingale, New York City, 337 Carmine Street. This was class change and change of method of operation. It is missing in some of your printouts. I'm not sure what made it here and what didn't, but this was a denial. The paragraph that's online and has been added reads, the first therefore be it resolved before the therefore be it further resolved reads, therefore be it resolved that Community Board 2 Manhattan recommends denial of the class change and change in method of operation for Par Avion Group LLC, doing business as Nightingale, New York City, 37 Carmine Street, and then it goes into the therefore be it further resolved. That was a deny with 4 board members and 2 public members in favor and 2 board members abstaining. That's that one. Number 7, the 14 Group LLC and SV Hospitality as manager, 244 West 14th Street. On premise for a restaurant. This was just a re-notification waive appearance. They came originally in March 2026, deny unless. Slice West Village LTD, doing business as Slice the Perfect Food, 435 Hudson Street. Alteration to add the sidewalk. It's a re-notification. The appearance was waived, came in September 2025, deny unless. With Stips, J.M. Williams LLC, doing business at Buvette, 4244 Grove Street. Alteration to add roadway, re-notification, appearance waived. They came in June 2025, deny unless with Stips, and then items 10 through 16 were layovers or withdrawals.
Great. So we have, is there any that any board members would like to call out? Arturo, can we get Arturo a mic? It is 9:31.
To call out number 6.
You want to call out number 6? Thank you. Okay, is there any others people want to call out, board members like to call out? Other.
No.
Oh, okay, so we have number 6 that we're calling out. So now we're going to take a vote on items 1 through 5, 7 through 9, and then 10 through 16 layovers. So all those in favor of those SLA2 resolutions I just spoke about? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Recusal? Abstentions? On all of them? Are you abstaining? Okay. Recusals, any recusals? Okay, let's go to number 6. I assume Archer, you'd like to speak about number 6?
Yeah, I had a question because there's a little bit of disagreement between what it says in the resolution and what the applicant said about 3 applications being joined together as one. Primarily just because I don't see the giant risk of having them be allowed to do craft cocktails. I can see why maybe the community wouldn't want them opening until 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday, and why they might not want them to have sidewalk seating. So I'm just trying to understand what that kind of disagreement about what actually happened.
The application as presented to us reads, our proposal is specifically to upgrade our existing beer and wine license to a full liquor license to add spirits and craft cocktails and to extend our closing hour time to 2 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays only. So that's why it was treated as one application, because that's how it was presented to us. The applicant didn't offer to split them up. The applicant said that all of these items were very important to him and didn't ask anything differently.
Okay, Mar?
So to clarify, the applicant called the board office and asked if it was 1 application or 2 for each request. He was instructed by the office to submit 2 separate applications for each request. He did not know and was not instructed at the committee that he had the right to have each heard as a separate item. Additionally, his DOT, which is a city agency, not state SLA, application was also being reviewed at SLA2. I don't know if that's proper. It seems a little odd to me. So when discussion happened, it was a discussion about, this is 3 applications, and why would he do that when that is what he was told to do and never, ever given a choice? That's, first of all, I'm not done. I have a lot more. Secondly, let's see. The petition signatures were all ignored. And then there were a total of 10 repeat signatures. Why? Because 3 different times Mr. Iqbal was instructed by CB2 to go collect signatures every single time he was forced to come back. Every single time. And then he was told that his signatures were not verifiable. Personally verified many of them myself. They were absolutely verifiable for anybody who cared to look. The soundproofing is done, has been done. Though that documentation and evidence has been delivered to this board, also ignored. The proximity study from a licensed, certified, bonded surveyor has also been delivered to this board. Also ignored. The first resolution that was written was a resolution that didn't even have a denial, didn't have an approval, didn't have anything except we need a study. You have a study. Everybody's done a study. We have studies. So it's 209 feet. But you know what? The applicant said, let's let the state SLA do it. Because you know what? He was given no opportunity for a path to survival from this board. Any one of those could have been considered, and they were not. And in fact, one of the board members, 2 actually, abstained, and one of them said, why don't we just give him the OP? Why don't we offer him that and see if he'll, forgo the other 2 at this time? And it was forced that no, it's one package, DOT, the hours, which is state SLA, and the OP. It was forced. And I invite any of you to watch the meeting because this is what happened. This business does not have an opportunity to survive. Anything would help them. And this board is not being a good community partner to this operator. So I urge all of you to vote no to this resolution.
David?
Well, if you don't know here, I am president of the Carmine Street Block Association. And this guy will say anything he wants, whenever he wants, whether it's true or not true. Let's go over it. He wants to get an OP, but he's not measuring the right doors. The pastor of the church, Father Jefferson, wrote us a letter on letterhead, which was submitted, saying that all the doors were used for church functions. And if he would have taken the proper measurements, he would have been, too close to the church in order to get an OP license. Plain and simple. The pastor of the church wrote a letter to us. We submitted it. He goes on to say that he spent a fortune on buffering and soundproofing. The fact of the matter is, the brick wall, which is the problem wall, which runs the entire length of his restaurant, is still exposed. It was explained to him, and I know quite a lot about this, and I don't need to go into it. Time is of the essence here. He needed to sheetrock the wall and leave a little air space between the brick wall and the sheetrock would have dampened the sound and would have soundproofed it. He's not the first restaurateur that had a brick wall. The sound goes through the entire building, especially to the resident that abuts his restaurant. But he's telling us he's done everything possible except fix it. Thirdly, when it came, and he says everybody loves him on the street, they don't. When he first came here in 2023 to 2024 to get his liquor license, he said only 2 people showed up in opposition. Actually, there were 7. I was one of them and 6 others who came from the community to testify against him. The things that he had people sign were kind of nonsensical. It was on 3 or 4 different sheets. One, he wanted a full liquor license. Then he said, no, he only wanted a beer and wine license. And a lot of people signed not knowing what he wanted at all. And, I know a lot about the signing of these petitions. You could go and stick something under someone's nose. They may live there. They may not live here. They weren't all certified, regardless of what Mark thinks. It's just, he says whatever he wants. And he says that I try to sabotage him. He's the kind of guy, if he doesn't get what you want, it's all like fake information. He needs to get what he wants, and everybody else is wrong. But we're not wrong. We have him. It's not wrong. He wanted a liquor license. He wanted an OP license. Carmine Street closes down. If anybody ever goes to Carmine Street, closes down about 11 o'clock. It's a quiet residential neighborhood. You could shake your head as much as you want. You're wrong. So, and I want to say that he's not entitled to the liquor license because A, his proximity to the church is too close. B, it would be nice if he got his facts straight. He put on his application, and I'm sorry, I don't have evidence for it because I didn't take a screenshot. I was going back to do it, but he removed it. Even he went to the state, New York State SLA. The chair of the SLA committee, Lily Fan, said, no, you need to close lights out 2 o'clock Monday all week, every day, 7 days a week. What's that?
12 o'clock is
What did
when
I
you
say?
close it.
I'm sorry, 12 o'clock. And he ignores it. There was testimony by his neighbor saying that he has parties on the weekend and people are there well after midnight. They're ringing her bell. One person was urinating in front of her door, afterwards. So, he has parties there. He kind of ignores everybody.
David, I really hate to interrupt but I'm just going to tell everyone what is real and what is happening right now is that it's 9:41 and we have 27 resolutions.
I
I am going to call
Okay,
for an adjournment at
last
2
sentence
p.m.
I have.
Just a second. I just want to be clear. We have 27 resolutions to vote on. It is 9:42, so we have 18 minutes, and the meeting will adjourn at 10 p.m. There is no extending past this time. That will only give 15 minutes to get this room back in order. So 10 o'clock, this meeting is coming to an end. I'm just going to throw that out
Okay,
there.
I just want to urge this board to vote for the resolution as stated by the SLA committee. That's all.
So I'm going to limit this now only to speak once, and we're not going to get through every resolution. So there are going to be items on here that the board will not have a position for. So Lois, so if you've already spoken, we are not going to go. You already spoke on. Okay. Until the. We will need to take a vote. Is there a second on this? Is there a second?
Thing, we already voted on all the other items on SLA 2. So this is the one that is left.
Yeah, this is what is left. So just a second, just a second. So just a second. We are physically not going to get through all the resolutions in the order as presented. So, and people are allowed to vote as they would like on this, but by moving this to the end, it will not get voted on and we will not have a position on it because we are not going to make it through all of the resolutions. So, in the order as presented. So, is there any further debate on the motion that's on the floor? Is there a second for this amended motion? I see a second from Patricia. Okay, so is there any debate on this motion, which is to move this particular resolution to the end of the month? To the end of the meeting, which would have it not be voted on by the board because we're not going to get through every resolution. We physically, in now 16 minutes, cannot vote on this. So a vote for this resolution be of no board position on it. Carter.
I'm just not sure why we just don't finish this so we can move on to.
So you need to vote against this amendment that's on the floor.
I'm just saying it just to the board in general.
So let's vote.
starting discussion.
So we are going to vote on this amendment. Yeah.
Here's your mic.
Okay. If anyone has opposition, I'm gonna move this along to vote on this amendment. If you would like to make the choice to, there's a word like filibuster this for 14 minutes, against the hard work, well, that would end the meeting, if someone wants to keep speaking. So now we're going to vote on this amendment, and if you have a problem with me making that decision, I just want to move the business along to have us vote on as many resolutions as we can. If the spirit of your other board members is to stifle the business of this board, I suggest you speak with them. So let's go. All right. So this amendment, all those in favor to put this to the end of the meeting, which would essentially have it not be voted on. We're not going to get through every resolution. I'm just going to. Okay, so if you're in favor?
Mar. Arturo. I'm calling out the yes votes. You can put your hand down when I call you so we can keep track. Janine. Jill. Dr. Shirley.
Do you see Patricia in the back? Chenault.
Chenault. Patricia.
Anything to move the meeting.
I'm
Yeah.
trying. I'm trying, but we do have a board member that was wanting to speak for 14 minutes
Did
to
I
accept
miss
this
any
meeting, and I'm trying to move this along.
Move it.
miss any?
But
I'm trying. Opposed. We have the opposed, and then abstentions, recusals. So this does not pass. So now this is on the table. Excuse me, this is on the floor to vote on SLA resolution. What number is this? Number 6 on SLA 2. So now we're going to vote on this resolution. You want to move to amend the resolution? Okay, you would need a microphone. It's 9:47. At this point, we are not going to vote on the traffic and transportation resolutions. We are not going to vote on the street activities resolutions. Go ahead.
All right. The motion to amend is to make it a denial for the change in method of operation, the two applications for hours and outdoor dining, and to make it a deny unless for the class change for cocktails.
If you second, is there a second for this amendment? That means we would then have debate on it and then we would then vote on it. We have a second from, is that Mar? It is. Guys, it's Mar. Okay. So now we have debate on this amendment. Will, call the question. Let's take a vote on this amendment. All those in favor?
Dr. Smith?
Opposed?
Wait, don't I need to?
All those in favor? Oh, we're voting on to call the question. My apologies. Well, I guess we're just going to administrative our way out of not voting on our resolutions. We're voting on calling the question now. So we're just expiring the time. We have 12 minutes. Opposed? Opposed to calling the question? Mars opposed to calling the question. And I think, Chanel, I'm not sure what your vote is. So maybe you can tell us. Now we are, no, because I had opposition. Any recusals? I forgot abstentions. Okay, great.
Okay, it passes 35-1.
Okay, so now we've called the question. So now we're going to take a vote on this resolution number 6 on SLA 1. Yeah, as it stands. All those in favor?
On the amendment. Point of order.
Where?
On the amendment. I'm so sorry. On the amendment. Thank you for your patience. On the amendment, all those in favor? Is there any debate on that amendment?
You just called the question.
Okay. Oh, I'll call the question. Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. All those in favor of the amendment?
Arturo, Janet, Janine, Mar, Trisha, Dr. Smith. If I called your name, can you put your hand down? Thank you. Eddie and DJ. There's no one online.
This in favor?
That's in favor, yes.
Opposed? Oh, recuse. Okay, sure. Tell me how to run it. Accused. Recused. Yeah, okay, let's vote.
Okay, so the amendment does not pass.
Okay. Now, SLA 2, number 6, all those in favor? Opposed?
Okay. Lucio, Federica, Amy, Arturo, Janet, Janine, Patricia, Mar, DJ, Dr. Smith, Chanel. Okay, that's all the no votes.
DJ, you got one more.
I can't see behind the pillar.
Can you say your name with the microphone? Because we can't see or hear.
Mona Sweeney, Dixit.
Thank you. Okay, abstentions and recusal.
Abstentions, recusals, abstentions. I just want to say I apologize to the committees that are not going to have their resolutions voted on.
Jill, Nina, Eugene. Okay, I got the abstentions.
I'm sorry?
We need recusals also.
Recusals. Do you have a financial interest? Okay, seeing none.
Okay, with 19 votes in favor, 12 opposed, and 5 abstentions, the resolution passes.
Okay, what is it? I'm sorry.
19 in favor, 12 opposed, 5 abstentions. It has passed.
Great. Thanks. So now I'm going to propose that we take each committee in a block to get through this in 8 minutes. So do we only have one landmarks report? So I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for this. I just want to move this along so we have board positions. So if you have a problem with what I'm proposing, please say it now. We have the resolutions for landmarks in front of you. We're going to take them as a block.
There
for the
was
first
one change made to the landmarks resolution in the first whereas.
It need not be.
So I'm sorry, we just can't have them read out. I mean, if there's a problem with that, we're not gonna get a vote. We won't have a board position. So I'm gonna propose we take landmarks 1 as a vote. If you have any you want to call out, please say so during the vote. So I'm just gonna call for the votes because we won't get through our business. So landmarks 1, we have 1 resolution, 2 resolutions, 3 resolutions, and a business session with 2 items to vote on. Okay, they agreed. So there was also not a quorum. So we have 5 items to vote on landmarks 1. I'm going to call for the vote right now, unless you'd like, if you have something I'm going to try to move this along. Otherwise we won't have a vote. So you can, I guess, I don't know. Okay, so all those, if you have something to call out, call it out. So all those in favor for the landmarks 1 items I just stated? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Landmarks number 2, we have items number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4, which don't have numbers, but they look like they were something voted on. 4 items. So if all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Are you opposed or abstention? Okay, could you get a microphone and tell us which number?
244 Waverly Place.
It
doesn't have a number. It just says 244 Waverly Place.
It doesn't have a number. It's on page 4. It's the top one on page 4. Okay, so then
it is not an item for a vote.
it says there's a recommendation. And there was a vote taken. There was a vote taken at the meeting, so there's a vote to be taken here. But it says, then why does it say vote unanimous? So, okay, great. Okay. Recusals. Thank you. Moving along to street activities, we have items 1 through 17, which includes FYI renewal. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions, recusals. Okay,
I
Donna.
need to recuse from items 6, 7, and 14, I believe. I'm a voting member of the meatpacking.
Great. Traffic and transportation. We have 3 resolutions.
And I shared earlier, I wanted to add that equity clause that we had in the Canal Street one into this one. That was on.
So that was what was confusing is the, okay.
Yeah, well, it said the 6th Avenue resolution. Why
Okay,
not
so
equity
as
amended?
Arturo, do you have a question? I'm not asking for a second on it. I'm just going to take it as is because we have 4 minutes. So if you have a problem with taking it as is. Yeah. Okay. So all those in favor for the resolutions 1, 2, and 3 for traffic and transportation? Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Thank you very much. Is there any new business? We have 4 minutes left still somehow. Otherwise I will call for a motion to adjourn. I'm sorry. We just did street activities. Okay, so do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Great. I advise all, thank you very much. Can we turn off the